It is 6 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt. What's up, Billy?
Sounds like what you said. Sorry.
Okay, no, that's all right. I thought maybe I wasn't coming through. We're in a new studio today, a little side studio as we work on some technical issues in the normal studio. But good morning. We've got a whole show planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis, most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. We've got an absolutely fire show for you today. We're going to talk Travis Hunter, the Broncos, Trump getting a $15 million check from George Stephanopoulos. Is Trump maybe watering down his immigration stand? Wall Street Journal with an interesting article over the weekend about that. We'll update you on the drone sightings. And then is the Colorado Parks and Wildlife people deleting and hiding emails from Cora requests? We're going to talk with Dr. John Williams, founder of Colorado Wolf Tracker, in the 9 o'clock hour. So a whole lot to cover today. Lots of news, DC news, national news, and most importantly, Colorado news. So we'll be covering all of that for you today. Let's check in first with news and comment. Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Hey, Jeff. I'll tell you what, it feels like a Monday this morning. I can tell you that.
Dude, and especially if you got kids late December.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Everybody's on fumes.
Oh, man. And we're all sick in this house. And it's the last week before Christmas break and everything. So
I had 3 teenagers studying for finals yesterday.
Did you?
It was pandemonium. Right?
How's that going?
Well, it goes across the spectrum. So I've got some kids that are like, oh yeah, I got finals tomorrow, whatever. And like, hey, let's turn on the Broncos game.
Yeah.
You know, they're confident. They think you got to figure it out. And then I've got a teenager that, you know, if there's not enough time, 6 months of studying is not going to make her feel comfortable about the exam. So, you know, all that
Definitely.
stress.
I have one of those too. Absolutely. I was that way. I'm the same way. No, I get it. Well, happy Monday to you and Billy. And I think we're on. So that's good. I didn't think I was going to be up until about 2 minutes ago. So that's good.
Oh, man. Well,
hopefully I'll be able to bring you something here.
Yeah, you're going to do great. What do you think of Travis Hunter?
I thought it was very predictable. I thought it was good ceremony and program, and some people were disappointed, of course, because of Genty from Boise State. But yeah, I think he should have been named the Heisman. Hunter, I mean, he's just, you know, all around athlete, dynamic player, splash, flash, and everything in between. He handled it great. At the podium, I thought it was outstanding. And then I saw some video. I felt sorry for him in the post ceremony. He was doing photos with fans and what have you. And I guess his fiance was on the couch next to him. He was standing up, taking photos and doing what he had to do with the fans. And she comments, "Am I going to have to sit here all night for this? Really? Really?" And I was like, dude, you may want to think twice. Yeah, get used to it. Exactly. She's either going to get used to it or he's not going to get used to it. And, so he handled it well. So I thought of your son playing catch with him before that game. And, he's a dynamic personality and player, and congratulations to him.
I thought the speech that he gave was great. And that moment where he says to his father, "Look at your oldest son." I don't know all the dynamic powerful there, but I'm guessing that Deion Sanders played a little bit more of a fatherly role in his life. And,
sounds like it. Yeah.
You know, like he was there. I was thinking to myself, how do you not go to your own son's Heisman Trophy Award?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics on that. I did see video though of him online of his dad watching it from his back. I didn't see his face.
Maybe there were some health
watching
issues or something like that. He couldn't go.
Yeah,
But
who knows?
Jeez,
Who
but
knows?
that hug that Dion gave to Travis Hunter when he got the award was the hug of a father for his son.
No doubt. No doubt. And it was great seeing video of his dad watching it on TV, and he was shedding a tear, obviously. But I don't know the dynamics, but thankfully he has people in his life who support him.
Yeah.
And a great mother who was there for him. All right, 24 and clear in Denver, expecting a high of 47 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, a man is dead after trying to cross I-25 and fleeing from a hospital in Lone Tree. Investigators say the man was on a mental health hold at Skyridge Medical Center when he left the building around 5 o'clock on Saturday night. He reportedly was seen on a light rail or on the light rail tracks near Lincoln Station, near the platform there, and then authorities asked RTD to stop trains in the area. He then hopped a fence and tried to cross the interstate, but was hit by multiple vehicles. He died after he returned to the hospital. Investigators say multiple people are dead after a weekend shooting in Aurora. Officers were called to an apartment on East Evans on Saturday morning after the shooting was reported. A 20-year-old woman and a 1-year-old girl died from the gunshot wounds. After being taken to the hospital, police say that the 19-year-old male suspect was found dead inside the apartment. Investigators are calling the shooting a family-related domestic violence incident. The feds are deploying additional resources in the face of numerous unknown drone sightings in New Jersey once again, and in the Northeast. Homeland Security sleazeball Alejandro Mayorkas said Sunday on ABC News that more personnel and technology will be used to help New Jersey State Police address the sightings. He added that the government is not aware of any foreign or criminal involvement with the drone sightings. Really, they know everything that's going on. They know what's happening. It's probably them. But if they don't, then once again, they should all be fired. And then there's Mitt Romney, your buddy, who actually admitted
You're never going to let me go on that, are you?
I'm not, man.
My favorite, though, because I think I'm the only person in the world that has worked for Mitt Romney and spoken at a Bikers for Trump rally. And they introduced me at the Bikers for Trump rally as having worked for Mitt Romney. I was like, I turned to the organizer. I'm like, I'm not going to get out of here. These people shank other people.
Yeah, they didn't boo you.
Oh no, they totally did.
Yeah,
they booed me. But then I led a big chant of God, guns, and Trump.
Ah, that's awesome.
And then they were on my side, but
they learned the real. Jeff was.
You're never going to let that go, are you?
No, I'm not. And he admitted the Republican Party is now MAGA on CNN, and hey, good for him. And thank God he's leaving.
The Republican Party has become the party of the working class, middle class voter, and got to give Donald Trump credit for having done that, taken that away from the Democrats. Democrats pushed him out. All right. The Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren faction of the Democrat Party with some of this, defund the police and transgenders in, biological males in women's sports. These things had a lot of people in the middle class just flee the Democratic Party. They're now Republicans. Now, one of the challenges in my party is that our policies do not necessarily line up with the interests of our voters. And so there'll be some reorientation that's going to be necessary in my party. The Democrat Party is the one in trouble.
All right. He still bothered me over the weekend, even though he did say the right thing there.
Yeah, no. So here's Mitt's fatal flaw. And I've run into this with a number of Republicans at that level. Is there's a segment of Republicans who believe that the most educated person should lead our nation.
Yes, I can tell.
It's the George H.W. Bush crowd, right? So here, George H.W. Bush leads the CIA. is vice president of the United States. He's a Yaley. He's skull and bones. He then, becomes president of the United States. Same thing. Mitt Romney, Harvard, Bain Capital.
Experts.
The smartest guy in the room should make the decision. Mm-hmm. That's the Achilles heel, fatal flaw of that wing of the Republican Party. But then they can't get over it. They can't just go, well, maybe we're at a moment in American history where we need a bruiser. We need a dude with sharp elbows who's going to go in and take down the deep state. And it's not about having the Yaley Harvard kid in control.
Exactly.
We need a guy that's a real fighter. And their inability to get to that intellectually has been fascinating to me. Why they can't understand that,
No, I can't.
And
I can't
get on the team and play the game where it's at right now.
And also I think when he talks about his faith, which is great, whatever, but he's also one of these people who thinks, I think he doesn't understand that we are all sinners.
Yes.
All of us are sinners, including him. Mm-hmm. And, he tries to pull the modest card, but no, I think he thinks he's squeaky clean. But I'll have some more stuff for you later in the morning, just for you. The mother of Luigi Mangione reportedly talked to the feds just hours before her son was taken into custody. New reports say Kathleen Mangione was questioned by authorities the day before, telling the FBI the suspect bore somewhat of a resemblance to her son. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954. Online at lairfireplacepatio.com. The Broncos led the Colts 17-13 late in the fourth on Sunday, and then Nick Bonito rips off a pass, pick six, 31-13 victory over the Colts. They forced 5 turnovers in the game, 4 of them in the second half. And Bo Nix, I think he threw 4 interceptions, and Billy was probably going crazy. But the Broncos win it, and they have a chance to earn the right to play in the postseason. We'll see what happens with them. 21 in North Glen, yes?
Oh, it was a great game. And by the way, Kyle Clark and I in a Twitter feud while he was sitting at the Broncos game.
Oh, is that right?
Absolutely. You want to hear about this?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So Kyle Clark gets his CBS goes to Kyle Clark in the stands in one of their cuts, right? So he's sitting there cheering, and while they're waiting for the game to go or whatever, they pan to Kyle Clark. And so Twitter blows up, right? Kyle Clark, CBS featuring Kyle Clark, all that stuff. And I tweeted with a picture of him on CBS showcasing our fearless progressive leader. Men saluted, women swooned. Kyle Clark leading a blue island in a sea of red.
Now, wait a minute. Was it a cutaway or?
Cutaway.
They certainly weren't saying, "Oh, there's Kyle Clark from 9 News." I mean, that wasn't what he was. Just a fan in the stands.
Yes,
right?
That's exactly right. But he's one of the celebrity fans, right? Because they didn't just cut to him because he's a random guy. They cut to him because he is, he's the fearless progressive leader that we all long for here in Colorado.
CBS Sports. So he was up there for how long? Maybe 10 seconds?
Maybe that. 5 seconds. Very quick. Okay.
So this is what angers me. All right. He was up there for a second longer than DJT was during the Army-Navy game on Saturday. Man, I was so ticked off, man. That place was going nuts because DJT was there, and it's Army-Navy. And they showed a total of 4 seconds of Trump during the game, which is absolutely ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
The commander-in-chief is there. I mean, shoot. I mean, why wouldn't they interview him during the game?
Right.
He's going to be the new commander in chief. I mean, it would have been
tons of popularity. Videos would have been cut and spliced and shared on social media all over the place.
Absolutely. And the place was going nuts when they announced him, of course. So I thought, what a joke. CBS Sports horrible.
So
they
more
have your
time
buddy
with Kyle
on.
Clark.
Yeah.
DJT.
There you go.
So I tweet, CBS showcasing our fearless progressive leader that men saluted, women swooned. And, I didn't think it was that big of a dig. I just thought it was kind of funny. Right. Like, okay, just a little jab at old Kylie Clark there. So Kyle gets a little frustrated while he's in the game. This happens during the game. So he goes, come on, Jeff Hunt. This must get tiring. Let's just cheer for the Broncos and give politics a rest for a minute.
No, let's not.
So to that point, it took me 30 seconds to simply search Kyle Clark in NFL to get a trove of Kyle Clark's tweets.
I didn't see that.
Politicking about the NFL, including going after Harrison Butker, going after people who are criticizing Colin Kaepernick. One tweet, anti-vaxxers in the NFL can create their own league. Every team runs a spread offense. All that stuff. 5 minutes. 30 seconds, really, to just dig into his tweets to go, dude, you talk about politics and sports all the time. So here's what I want to issue an apology, an official apology here.
All right.
I am sorry that I took Kyle Clark's thunder. This was his moment on CBS Sports nationally. And we all know he's been really reaching, trying to get to that national stage. And of course, I took a dig. And so Kyle Clark, I want to apologize for stealing your thunder. This was your moment on the national stage. And I sure hope to God that one day MSNBC picks you up and you leave the state.
I think he has a good shot. Thanks to you.
Him and Joy Reid would have a heck of a shot.
I'm rooting for him. I think
there you go.
That'd be good TV. All right, it's 24 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue Monday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It'll be a mixture of high clouds, sun, and fairly uneventful weather here along the Front Range and eastern Colorado Plains for a bit, while there will be some snow action at times this week in the Colorado High Country. Not much going on down low. Highs will be upper 40s to near 50 today, near 30 tonight, low to mid-50s Tuesday. Turning a bit colder tomorrow afternoon and a little windy. 20s tomorrow night. Highs will be 50s, lows will be 20s and 30s Wednesday through Friday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
In the studio.
Yes.
Yes,
we are. No, you didn't.
The text message people's missed you.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
I read the text messages. I heard what they said.
They're very happy.
I know what they said.
Very happy to have you. I'm happy to have you.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was great. It was great to have Heidi live in studio. She did a wonderful job on Friday. And Bill is back after a weekend taking care of some family responsibilities.
Some family stuff. So it was a long weekend. So we'll see. Yes, but I'm back. I see the text messages and everything else. It's very nice. It was good. It was a busy weekend. You know how it is. Family things. And things don't always go as planned. So what do you do? What do you do? Yeah, but it was a good story that you'd had about Travis Hunter. That was really nice to see. Another Heisman Trophy winner
from Colorado.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Isn't that great?
That is really
he
cool.
gave a very honest speech.
Yeah.
And what I love about him is, well, there's a number of things, but the connection with Deion, what Deion's been able to do with the CU Buffs program in just a few years is remarkable.
Yeah, it really
awesome.
is. Yeah.
Because I don't even think CU won a game 3 years ago.
I don't think so. Yeah.
It is
remarkable.
And then came back. And the experience we had with Travis Hunter is that he recognizes that like little kids' dreams are made.
Yeah.
When a football star, and I mean, out of all the players, out of all of them, one guy came up and high-fived my son and Frank McNulty's son, who are about the same age. They were just hanging out on the sidelines watching, and then plays a little pass with them. It wasn't the second string, third string. It was the top
the top athlete in the program.
Yeah, I was going to say NFL player. He's on his way, but top athlete in the entire collegiate sports program does that.
Oh, it's impressive. That was really
cool.
It
reminds me one time, you get this because you're a Broncos season ticket holder. We were Broncos season ticket holders. We gave them up. But they give you little perks every once in a while.
Yes, they do.
And they allowed us to go down into the tunnel to watch them run out.
That is one of the coolest things.
Isn't that's like cool. One of the really cool
That
perks.
is one of the cool things. Yeah.
There was one player that came by and high-fived everybody there. And there's like 50 of us, right? It's not just me.
Really? Yeah.
But one player did that. And that was Von Miller.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I think these guys get it, right? That, and I've had other people in my life that weren't NFL players, but you have the one guys that get like, do a little bit of the handshake and high five. And you just do that. Takes 10 seconds of your time. But those people will never forget it. It sits with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. My son has an autographed Von Miller jersey, and he did take extra time and sat there. This happened before a game. And he turned, and then there was an event type of a thing. And he spent some time, and Vaughn was talking to him and everything else, and signed his jersey. And this is one of the first couple of years Vaughn is here. Yeah. So it was a really cool experience. He did go out of his way. And so that, and then to see the Broncos win yesterday.
Yes.
That was ridiculous. That was so much fun.
Did you think that Colts guy actually scored the touchdown? Because I went back and watched
At first, yes. But then when they show the ball, no, he dropped it. He dropped it beforehand. And this is the stupid part about it is, there's a difference inside of soccer versus football. And so inside of soccer, the entirety of the ball has to go over the line. Yeah. We just have to have the nose of the football touch the goal line. And it's good. So I'm like, nah, I think it missed. But it was great to see, because that would have been 20-7. And after that goes back to 13-7, and the Colts don't score again.
Yes.
That is crazy. It was a ridiculous weekend. In fact, Sunday morning was up doing some radio stuff, and then watched the second half of the soccer game, Manchester City and Manchester United, that my son's watching. He's a Manchester United fan. Yeah. And City has won the league 4 years in a row. Manchester United is like in 12th position. It's not good. And they're going into the dominant City 2 years ago, won the Champions League. So this is a monster team. And they go into the final 5 minutes of the game, and Manchester United is down 1-0. And Manchester United scores twice in 118 seconds and wins. It was crazy to watch. 118 seconds, and they get 2 goals, and they beat Manchester
like 90
City.
Minutes of not scoring.
Yeah, but it was like 85 there, like the 86th minute was the first time. Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch. It was so much fun.
So help a guy, and my son plays soccer, but like 85 minutes of no scoring. But it's not like they're not doing anything. There's strategy there and all that.
Oh, there's a ton.
So how do you watch a game like that, stay invested 85 minutes without a goal?
The same way you would say, the same thing I would talk to someone that sees a baseball game that is 1 or 2-0. That's the pitcher's duel. The other part is in football. Football is built on the illusion of scoring. We do a whole bunch of illusions about what we score. Because if you would give a single point, if you give out, first of all, field goals are irrelevant and stupid. No other sport has an almost score. We kind of got close, so we'll give you some points. We feel bad for you. It's like the participation.
Rugby kind of does.
But but for rugby's kind of we've taken that off of rugby. That's where we kind of get it from. It's like participation points. Yay, you got close.
You know who feels the same way about that? Was who's the creator of Seinfeld? Not Jerry Seinfeld, the other guy with the white hair.
Yeah. David. I can't remember his name right now. But yeah.
It feels the same way. Like just take it all out.
Oh yeah,
take it all out. Kickers.
And if it was, and again, the only way I ever would play in the NFL would be a kicker. So again, that's I'm killing my own. I get it. So, but an NFL touchdown is worth 7 points. Why? In every other sport, it's like 2 points in a basketball. It's dumb. So it's an illusion of scoring that is built off it. Most NFL games, if you would eliminate field goals, would end 1-2 or 2-3. Most NFL football games. We had one on Thursday night that was all field goals, I believe. That would have been 0-0. That would have been a 0-0 soccer score. So that's why the NFL pretends there's a lot of scoring that goes on, and there really isn't. And all of those times, you think about it, there's a reason that red zone exists in football, because all that time in which they're going from the 120 to the other 20, that's all that time that everybody says, soccer's boring because all they're doing is kicking the ball back and forth. That's all they're doing back and forth in football as well. The same thing exists. The only reason that people view football differently is because they tell you when to pay attention. They say, here, pay attention for 10 seconds right now. We're going to do some stuff. Okay, now we're not going to do anything for 2 minutes. You can do something else for a while. And then we're all going to line up. And now you're ready. Okay, pay attention. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay, nothing anymore for another 90 seconds. Don't worry about it. They tell you. That's part of it. You've got to pay attention inside of soccer. And it isn't always super exciting, but there is things that happen. The idea being, if you would have had a play in the Broncos yesterday where let's say that the Colts are coming down the field and then you get an interception. The ball's intercepted. While he's coming back, he tosses the ball several times to other players while they're going down the field. The Colts somehow get the ball back off a fumble, rush most of the way down the other portion of the field. Then we get the ball back. We run all the way, and there's some passes and laterals that happen, and then finally a touchdown. That would be the lead highlight in every single NFL report. That's a great point. That is soccer. That's what soccer does.
That's a really good point.
So it's just we don't stop all the time. So that's all it is. It's just a different manner. If anybody that thinks soccer is boring and you like football, sit down with me for a game and I'll explain it to you in football terminology. And you're like, oh, I'm not saying you'll like soccer. I'm just saying you'll get it. You'll understand why people like it and why they view it. I don't guarantee that I'll turn you into a soccer fan, but I'll have you understand why
that would
the
be
game
a fun
works.
Day.
Yeah.
Billy in the bar and
I'll show you
some
why it
soccer
works.
explanation.
Yeah, because many times you have to understand that what's happening off the ball is much more important than what's happening on the ball. You've got to watch everything else that's outside of what's going on the ball, because what everybody else is doing is phenomenally more important than what is going on with the ball at that point in time.
Well, coming up, I want to get into this. George Stephanopoulos and ABC apologized to Trump, forced to pay $15 million to settle a defamation suit, and George Stephanopoulos shuts down his X account. Wow, what a weekend. Does DJT just keep winning? Well, we're going to get into that and more. Phone lines are open, by the way. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. I'd love someone to debate Billy on what's more interesting, football or soccer. Give us a call on that, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115, 720-819-5115. Hey, I want to talk to you about my friends over at QC Kinetics. Are you going to start the new year dealing with the same old joint pain, losing sleep, not able to take walks, or do what you love because of your knees or hips? Guys, let's not start 2025 this way. Take action now. Get the pain relief you deserve for 2025. Call QC Kinetics now and say goodbye to shoulder and back pain. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people, and we're talking about lasting relief. All right, so what's regenerative medicine? Joel in our office uses QC Kinetics. They draw out a little bit of blood. They put it into a machine and get the plasma out. This is like healing parts of your blood, okay? They then inject that back into parts of your body where there's problems. Now, does it work? Joel, in our sales department, is now playing more golf later in life, pain-free, hiking longer than he ever has before, and no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Isn't that amazing? So all you have to do is give them a call. Find out if all natural regenerative medicine's right for you. The consultation's free, and you can use HSA and FSA dollars. So live your best life in 2025. Let's get started now. Here's the phone number, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986, with locations in Aurora, Superior, Highlands Ranch, and the Springs. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
We're going to kick it off Monday morning in a fun way. I'm going to do this because my son's riding to school right now, and he's a soccer player. Billy, look at this message. Soccer is just cross country with a ball. Anybody can do it. No skill required. Better acting than training day when someone brushes up against another. LeBron watches soccer and learns how to fake injuries. It's not a real sport. 8875. Oh, my goodness. 3433. I've tried with soccer. Can't get there. Last World Cup that people were reporting as one of the best games ever played. My reaction was, I guess this game isn't always terrible. 5. That's from 3433. So we'll kick it off that way. Iggy saying, what is soccer? So welcome back, Bill. We're going to make fun of soccer.
That's fine. Again, as if I haven't dealt with it my entire life. And also, when you all get together and watch the Super Bowl and the World Series and the NBA playoffs and finals, all those three combined don't match the audience for the World Cup.
Great point.
So, don't care. I just don't. And the issue being that more people play soccer, the money's better, the system is better. Also, we are infinitely more corrupt. FIFA is the most corrupt sporting organization on the planet. So there isn't a single thing that you've got that's better. That's the other thing is it's, again,
more corruption.
Yes.
We got
more corruption. We got piles of corruption. So we have so much more corruption, and the system and the structure is better. And I understand, but the idea of, just running around, we're not doing anything. The defensive and offensive linemen stand up for. It's a game that should take an hour. That takes 3.5 hours to play, and you have large men that just run into each other over and over again. Okay, yet soccer is the one. And again, I'm not saying that it is perfect. I hate the fact that they roll around as if they've been shot so many times. There was an instance yesterday in the Manchester United-Manchester City game that was absolutely horrible. Kyle Walker embarrassed himself. It was horrible. And I think some of those rules should change. Also, I hate the fact that for whatever reason, they've decided to go with less padding. There are people running around kicking near your feet and your ankles, and they've decided to wear little baby shin guards. It's phenomenally stupid.
That's
ridiculously
I know
stupid.
My son's into that now. They all wear really small.
It's really super stupid.
Why is
that? Stupid.
But I mean,
stupid.
The argument made to me was that it just covers what's necessary with the shin. We don't need. I don't need my entire front of my leg covered.
Yeah. Again, stupid. And the reason why is, how many times do you see people rolling around on the ground, grabbing the part of their leg that's not covered? All the time.
Yeah.
They need it covered. Yes. In fact, when I was playing, if you had shin guards that weren't fitting properly, that little place that's right above where your ankle bends and your shin starts, I would kick you with the toe of my shoe hard first couple of times down the field. And then I would apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. Because the next time you come down the field, what are you thinking?
Yep.
I can make a mistake. And so now I've taken you out. I just need you to hesitate for half a second. That's all I need. I need you to hesitate for half a second, and I've got you. That's it. So it's not about it. If they came down, if they came down today and I was playing, I'd be smacking them in the ankles. I'd be kicking them in the shins. Yes, absolutely. And then I would apologize.
8875 going, more people play soccer than any other sport. Yes, because it takes no skill. You've made my point.
Takes no skill. Here's the idea. Remember this, that when you're running with the ball, you then have to deliver it the same way that a quarterback does. The idea being that, and you have to decide the pitch and the spin on that ball as well. Imagine if golf was full contact. That's the idea behind soccer, that you would have full contact golf where you could run around and hit the other players while they were running up with the ball.
And they'd have to hit it. Amazing sport.
Yeah. And they'd have to, you can put it on horses and call it polo, but it's kind of the same thing. But that's the idea, is you have to be able to bend and keep that and hit that ball at a time in which someone else is running around. Yeah. Pitchers get to stand there alone on the mound and do it. No. And again, the same idea inside of basketball where they have fouls. And then with the quarterback, he's the only one that has to deliver that ball in a certain area. But everybody on the field has to be able to deliver that and has to use their foot and be able to deliver it like it is a golf club. Yeah, it is phenomenally difficult. If it wasn't so difficult, why don't we have 17 goals a game? If it was so easy, if the game was so easy to do, why is everything 2-1? It's because it's much harder to score than anything else. But I get it. It's difficult to understand. It's not difficult. It's not a difficult game. It's difficult to understand.
Fun way to start off the morning because lots of text message on this, including ones from the bread man about Kyle Clark. Kyle will soon be on The View disparaging conservative women. He does have a bizarre obsession with that.
Yeah. Did you hear Rob Snyder's going to start a View alternative, he said.
Is he?
Yeah, but he said he's trying to do a conservative version of it, but he wants to make it all female as well. And I'm like, don't they already have that on Fox?
I know that's Fox.
Isn't that the Outnumbered show? Yes, is that kind of what it is?
That is exactly what it is.
That's kind of what they have already. So I don't know. But he said he was going to do that. So
all right. Well, speaking of news, what do you think of this, Billy? $15 million to settle a defamation suit. ABC News and its top anchor, George Stephanopoulos, have reached a settlement with DJT in his defamation suit, which will result in the news network paying the president-elect $15 million. The settlement was publicly filed on Saturday, revealing that the two parties have come to an agreement and avoided a costly trial. According to the settlement, ABC News will pay $15 million as a charitable contribution to a, quote, presidential foundation and museum to be established by or for plaintiff as presidents of the United States of America have established in the past. Additionally, the network will pay $1 million in Trump's attorney's fees, Fox is reporting. Stephanopoulos and ABC News have also issued statements of regret. As an editor's note at the bottom of a March 10th, 2024 online article about comments made earlier this year that prompted Trump to file the defamation lawsuit. The note reads, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump made during regarding President Donald J. Trump that they made during an interview by George Stephanopoulos with Rep. Nancy Mace on ABC This Week on March 10th, 2024. ABC News said that the network was pleased to have concluded the case. Now, here's what was being fought over, okay? Stephanopoulos repeated a claim at least 10 times during his spat with Mace in which he said that Donald Trump was found liable for rape and for defaming the victim of that rape. It was not rape. It was sexual abuse. Now, is that a distinction without a difference without a distinction in your mind, Bill?
No.
Or is this an important case?
It's somewhat minor, but Stephanopoulos was inaccurate and wrong.
Yeah.
And it is fair for Trump to sue him for defamation. Mm-hmm. It's completely fair because the phrase that he uses was inaccurate. That is not what Trump was found guilty for. And Stephanopoulos was loose and he made a mistake. And the fact that he repeated it over and over again and was using it as a defense is why Trump went after him. But again, it's 15 million. That's not that big as far as a large defamation suit or libel suit, because we have, nearly 800 million in the Fox case.
Fox, that's a good point.
That's a totally different.
This is something that a lot of people don't see behind the scenes, but defamation and accuracy is something that Bill takes incredibly seriously.
Yes, I do. I really do. Yeah, it was beaten into me as a kid running through journalism schools and looking at journalism law and ethics. And it is really, really important. And Fox could have saved themselves hundreds of millions of dollars by just saying allegedly. And Stephanopoulos was absolutely inaccurate. And I've had to correct myself a number of times here because when that verdict dropped, it's easier to say he was found. It's easier to fall into the rape, but it is sexual assault and sexual abuse. That's what he was found civilly liable for. And you can't say he's a criminal because of it. All of those things have to be accurate in your description. And it is completely and totally fair for Donald Trump to raise the issue of defamation. And this is the interesting part is I'm curious about discovery. And they were getting to that point where affidavits were going to have to be done. And they were going to get to look at some emails and some communications back and forth. Because in order to get a larger verdict, they were going to have to show that Stephanopoulos acted with actual malice.
Right.
And that is an intent to harm Donald Trump. So my guess is that the lawyers saw something in some of Stephanopoulos' discoverable emails where they feel they could be held liable for malice. That ever he's like, we got to get this guy, or we got to do this, or I'm sick and tired of him. Anything like that will lead you toward actual malice, saying that you weren't actually functioning as a reporter.
That's where Fox had the 800 million.
Yep, exactly, because they showed people behind the scenes going, guys, this isn't true. This isn't true, guys. Yeah. Why are we doing this? This isn't true. Why are we letting these people on the air say these things that we know isn't true? And they had emails and other communications behind the scenes on that already. And they weren't even into full discovery. They were into some larger stuff too that they're still waiting for. So that was part of the reasons that Fox settled. And that's what I think it is here. Is that they know that Stephanopoulos has said some stuff and had conversations with people behind the scenes about personal motivations. Wow. And that's why they paid, because this is going to be much less. If this went to court, they're looking at 60, 70 million minimum on this. Minimum.
We're up against break. We're going to get to you Tuesday news. Maybe we can continue this into the 7 o'clock hour. Feel free to give us a call, by the way, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Look, George Stephanopoulos started as a political activist.
Yes.
Right? And then worked in the Clinton campaigns. Okay. Yep. I will never, ever carry the mantle of a journalist. Yeah. I don't even want it, because I actually believe you can be a good journalist and generally be pretty right down the middle of the road. Yeah. I am a political activist. I want conservatives to win, to take over the state. I think it's better for everybody. So I have a motivation. Stephanopoulos has a motivation too. So is it, did he ever claim the mantle of a journalist? Kind of. His second life, his second career was more of like a journalist, but that's something I never want to do. I am a political activist. I have a motivation. And I feel like it's better for the audience to know that. Right? Yeah. So when guys like Kyle Clark and Channel 9, the rest of them are like, no, we're journalists. I'm like, no, you're not. You're political activists. You're political activists. You're using, like, the tagline of Next is about more it's like, don't just watch or something. It's activate or whatever it is.
I'd have to go and look, because the Kyle thing for me is a little more, he's closer to what I would consider a journalist than someone like Stephanopoulos. I think Stephanopoulos came in late and tried to wear the jacket as a journalist for credibility, when I've seen time and time again, he really isn't. But he tries to hold himself up like that. And that, in my opinion, is why he was going to get tagged for the defamation, is because he tries to represent himself as a journalist when he's not.
All right, we've got you Tuesday News. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, it's Monday morning, Billy. You know, people coming out of the weekend, getting out of bed. We could really help them with a little bit of You Choose the News.
Let's see if it works in this studio. This is going to be a surprise for both of us. Hey, there's the music. Yes, we get to play everybody's favorite fake radio news game show, You Choose the News. I've spent mere moments this morning scouring interwebs while also surfing soccer scores to find really dumb stories about us humans to play this fake radio news game show. Why? Because those in charge have no idea that we are doing it at this hour. Yes, we are wasting time very cleverly. Alrighty, gentlemen. Blake Olson in the newsroom, along with Jeff Hunt in our studio. Here are your choices, sirs. Headline number 1, I see you. Headline number 2, chemistry for kids. Headline number 3, great holiday reminder. And headline number 4, solving a family mystery.
Let's do chemistry for kids.
Yes, chemistry for kids. Health Canada is really, really concerned about a possible chemical hazard that you could expose children to. Here in America, we don't care. You know those balloon blowing kits? It's a short plastic straw. Blake will know these. And then some sort of a solvent that squeezes out of what looks like a small toothpaste tube. Oh, yes, you know those. You blow them up. They look like amazing bubbles. However, they also can expose you to, well, the world of hallucinations. Yes, because the type of solvent they use in those balloons, not very good to keep breathing in. And they're telling the families that if you buy those things, your little Jimmy or Sally could start hallucinating and maybe having some other issues because of the chemicals.
Makes sense.
I know, totally does.
Kind of blows.
Yeah, nicely done. Jeff never got those little fake balloon things, did you? No,
I know.
No idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God, they're
we
awful.
lived a dangerous life.
Yes, we did. They're like, I don't think it'll kill the kids. Let's see what happens. Alrighty. Blake Olson, your choice, sir. I see you. Holiday reminder or family mystery?
I see you.
Yes, I see you. The city of Oregon is mad at someone running around. I'm sorry, not city of Oregon. The city of Bend in Oregon is mad at someone running around taking liberties with their local art sculptures. See, the problem is that someone's putting googly eyes on the sculptures all around town. And while hilarious, they're saying, it takes us some time and we can ruin the art trying to remove it. But the local residents of Bend say, no, someone's just putting cardboard up there and you can pull them off and it's pretty easy. It's not like they're gluing them on. You can take them off, and they say the art's never been as fun when they're driving around and seeing a deer or a chicken with big googly eyes. Yes,
better than ripping down statues.
Exactly. I think it's fantastic. That's just a bunch of Scrooges. No Christmas spirit.
Columbus with googly eyes. More fun.
Yes,
more fun
exactly.
Ripping down.
Alrighty, and Jeff, final choice this morning, sir. Holiday reminder or solving a family mystery?
Let's solve a family mystery.
Solving a family mystery in the middle of the week when Jenna received a phone call at the flower shop she works at Newberry, Michigan. She was surprised when on the other end it was a detective from the Michigan State Police asking her if she had heard about a cold case. 1997. A deceased infant was found in a campground pit toilet at Garnett Lake Campground. Investigators couldn't find any leads on the identity of the baby, but she's a match to the DNA. She's connected. Wow. Yeah. And the thing is, she had done those like 23andMe screenings.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would put it into a database. She popped up. Turns out grandma had the kid and it died in childbirth and she left it in the park.
Grandma did?
Yes, grandma did. I know.
Wild.
Solving a family mystery because of the DNA test. Yeah. That's it. That's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you, sir.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 7 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You just woke up in the greatest country in history. Let's get to work. We got a whole hour planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis. Most importantly, though, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is not a monologue. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to think. We want you to engage in the conversation and be a part of the dialogue that's shaping this city and this state. No other show like it. Your voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver, and let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Phone lines are open. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. All right. The conversation happening within conservative circles, Billy.
Yeah.
We had a Christmas party with about 20 of our friends. Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Many top conservative leaders in the state. And the Wall Street Journal hit on this perfectly over the weekend. The big debate. How many people is Donald Trump going to actually deport?
So y'all have caught up with me, huh?
What's that?
Yeah, y'all have caught up with me, have you? was asking this before the election.
Yes,
was asking this right after the election. How many people? How are we going to accomplish this? So I appreciate the Wall Street Journal has finally caught up with the Jeff and Bill Show. It is wonderful to hear that they are finally joining us as far as the question of the day that should be answered.
So, do you know how many people that Barack Obama, because Barack Obama actually deported the biggest number, but that was over a course of many years. But I think it was roughly around 1 million.
Yeah, I don't know total numbers.
Or
I haven't looked
DJT.
lately.
I'll pull this up. We'll get it after news and comment with Blake Olson. But this is my biggest worry: is the creep back away from mass deportations. Because if Donald Trump just ends up with deporting criminals, that's it. And then we kind of slow the number of people coming over. I'm going to consider it a failure. I am putting my trust in Stephen Miller. That is what because I appreciate DJT. I think that Donald Trump's going to try to do his best. But at the end of the day, the guy within the administration that's really going to push this is Stephen Miller. By the way, over the weekend, Jack Posobiec found this incredible video. Do you know there was one Duke student that stood up against the rape accusations and said the evidence isn't there? Mike Nifong, the DA, is wrong. He was a writer he was a journalist for the Duke student newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Miller.
Oh.
And they pulled all this audio and video from 18 years ago where Stephen Miller was going, the evidence isn't there. This isn't right. Mike Nifong is politicizing this. He was exactly right on that. So kudos to him on that. But within the administration, I think the guts at the highest level to push this the way it needs to go is going to be of Stephen Miller. So it could go one of two ways. Actually, it could go one of many ways. But it could go we're just gonna get the criminals out, and we'll remain in Mexico, and congratulations. That's all we're gonna do. And if that is what is done within the Trump administration, I'm grateful it's not the Biden administration, but I'm going to consider it a failure.
Looking at numbers, kind of hard to find at this point. The stuff that I trust looks like Obama's numbers are probably somewhere between 2.5 to 3 million.
2.5 to 3 million.
Yeah,
so it's 1 million within 4 years, probably.
Yeah,
right?
and I don't think. I'm not looking at
Trump's. I think we're somewhere similar, but maybe not. I don't
think as of 2019, it's being reported that he had only done about 250,000.
I don't know if that's right.
Again, that's why I'm not certain these numbers are right. I'm having problems finding. Nobody's giving me a nice clean list, and that's kind of
our listeners do. Yeah. That's often where they jump in.
That's been the argument that I've had is how's he going to accomplish this and who's going to go after? It's easy to get the ones on the deportation orders, and that's what he talked about most recently. is the ones that already are being ordered to be deported or are already under arrest.
Well, and the Wall Street Journal points out that some of the rhetoric seems to be walking back a little bit.
And are we surprised?
I'm frustrated. I will be very frustrated and I'm not asking for military operations that go house to house.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for that. But I think there's other ways that you can really make it almost impossible, not entirely, but difficult to be employed in this country illegally.
Yeah, the problem is that he never talked about that employment side of it. And I haven't heard Stephen Miller talk about the employment side either. He's all about rounding them up and sending them home from the rhetoric that I heard. Even when we were at the Donald Trump rally together here, that's what he was talking about. So I am very pessimistic that they're going to go the employment route, which honestly would be the most efficient route to do it. But you're going to have to punish businesses, not the illegal immigrants. And I don't think that's the motivation. I think the motivation in this is to go after the illegal immigrants. And if we're not arresting them, if we're instead fining business owners, that's going to be a bad look in my mind. I'm thinking for Republicans. And I am not surprised at all that Trump and his administration are walking this back, because we never had any semblance of a plan. He never came out and said it was going to be easy. He said he'd get it done. But he never outlined anything as far as structure of a plan. And remember, I think that it is only fair to hold Donald Trump to the numbers that he quoted out on the campaign trail. Now, I won't go with his highest numbers into the 30 millions, but I think it's fair, since he oftentimes referred to 22 million. That should be our benchmark. Yeah. How much of the 22 million he claimed are in the country illegally is he going to remove? And he said it was going to be the largest mass deportation ever. However, he said that campaigning in 2015 as well.
Homan's getting asked on this.
Yeah.
He says, keep getting asked, how many people are you going to deport? And his answer, well, I don't know.
Yeah. He doesn't know.
It depends on the resources we're given. Depends on the resources we're given.
Yeah.
Dude, when I read that, I was like, oh, you can't walk this back, guys. Like, just going 1.3 million that have already had orders of deportation and remain in Mexico. If that's where they land, I'm going to consider it a disappointment.
Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult for them to get above those numbers personally, because of the mechanism they're going to have to do it. And this, I don't understand. I'm surprised, but not surprised, because this is what we saw during the first administration. I mean, we can just point to the big giant wall. Didn't go anywhere, and Mexico didn't pay for nothing. And again, that's why I push about the wall all the time, is because Mexico didn't pay. And that was the promise. The promise was always, and he just said that everybody that didn't believe him wasn't smart enough, didn't understand, because he was the super business guy. And he kept saying Mexico was going to pay for it. Mexico didn't pay for anything. And he continued to promise healthcare changes that never materialized. So the idea that there isn't a fomented plan or way to, get all the illegals out that he promised, I am not surprised by it. I'm not saying that he's going to fail, and I'm not going to sit here and denigrate him for it, but I'm not surprised that we are at this point in the conversation to where what he was saying on the campaign trail may not be what he's going to be able to accomplish, that maybe he super overpromised on the campaign trail, because I think it is reasonable to say during his last administration, he overpromised on the campaign trail and underdelivered.
So,
but I think Biden did too.
I will put, I will absolutely put a lot of the problems that Trump received on immigration in his first term on Democrats, their lawsuits, the fact they got control back after a few years of Congress, and then made it a giant hurdle in order to get anything done. Okay. So, but I'm not going to let Trump I'm not going to let him get out of this if it's just purely the Democrats. I think they have to push. And my hope right now is, after reading this article, is not necessarily in Homan. I think Homan's great, but he seems to be walking back in this. The only guy that I think is going to push this through, regardless of what the Democrats may try to put in their way, and is not going to back down, is going to be Stephen Miller. I think this is his issue. I think he's going to drive it. I don't think he's going to give up. And so I think you go one of two ways. If Stephen Miller is able to successfully drive this, I think you're going to see numbers close to 4 million. Now, it's not 12 million. It's not 22 million. But compared to what previous administrations have done, where you're looking at like 1 or 2 million, doubling that, I will consider that a victory.
And the question is, I haven't paid attention to it much because I try not to, but I haven't heard Stephen Miller outline what he would do either. And that would be the question, is to think if he can get there. But is it more just rhetoric about, the awful things they're doing to the country? So that's what I'm curious about, is what is this plan? And that's been my question the entire time. What is the plan?
And the Republicans have to be tough enough to press through the obstacles that Democrats are going to throw in front of it. Yeah. So I want to hear from our listeners, what's the number? What's the number that you think Donald Trump is going to get to in his first term? Could it shockingly be 20 million? Knowing that previous administrations, Obama, Trump, got around 1 million, maybe 2 million. Could he get that high? I think 4 million would be a big success, but you tell me what that number has to be in order for you to feel like the Trump administration was right and got this correct in their first term. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. Blake Olson with news and comment. Blake, what's your number?
What is my number?
Yeah.
Phone number? I'm sorry. For the deportation. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I will say this. I have heard, I'm almost positive that Stephen Miller has said something, I'm paraphrasing, that this is going to be the greatest deportation effort of all time. So it would have to exceed Obama's, right? 2 million. 2 million. I would say 3 to 4 million. How about that? I mean, that's probably maybe a stretch. I'm not sure. But to me, it's all about the border first.
Yep.
And then the children. I think they're going to have success with the children, the 300,000 children who are missing, I believe. And they're going to deputize anyone and everyone to try to find them, and then go from there. But how about 3 million?
3 to 4 million's a win. I think that's a win.
I think so too.
Now, it's not 20 million, but I never expected the Trump administration to go door to door, right? Like military operations, Elian Gonzalez kicking in, pulling them out of the closet. I don't think anybody ever expected that. But
no, I don't think so.
But I mean, Tom Homan is walking back his rhetoric now, going, well, we'll see. I don't know. It depends on the obstacles thrown in front of us, the resources we get. I am putting my hope. I'm putting my hope in Stephen Miller.
But you know what? I think the important thing is the messaging that goes to Latin America, and South America, and just the overall general feeling that serves a great purpose as well. So, and then all we ever hear during elections, Republicans don't know how to win. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to win. Just win. Well, they had to win, and this was the issue. This was one of the issues, if not the issue. I think about, I'm going to say 3 million.
So Trump was at 935,000. This is ChatGPT providing answers. 935,000 his first term. Obama's first term was 1.6 million.
Okay.
So, but
it was 1.6 in 8 years.
No, 4. His first term.
Oh, his first term. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you get to 4. You more than double that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a win.
I think that can happen. I think that can happen. Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. All right. It's 22 and clear in Denver, expecting a high of 47 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, the Feds deploying additional resources after more unknown drones fly through the skies like it's an air balloon festival in Albuquerque. They've mostly been reported in New Jersey and the Northeast, but over the weekend, mysterious sightings were also reported in Southern California. Homeland No Security clown Alejandro Mayorkas said that the government is not aware of any foreign or criminal involvement with the drone sightings. So tell the American people what's going on. How about that? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, consider the source. A man is recovering after getting stuck on Mount Bierstadt, the 14er located southeast of Georgetown. is Mount Bierstadt, and searchers saw a flashing light around midnight on Friday and found the hiker around 1 a.m. The man was unable to move because his shoes were frozen solid. Rescue team members helped to warm his feet. The rescue group said that setting up an overdue time with his father and having a light to signal searchers probably saved his life. A Manhattan grand jury could return a murder indictment this week against Luigi Mangione, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The indictment would then trigger Governor Kathy Hochul to issue a warrant to extradite the murder suspect. DJT's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services is looking for support on Capitol Hill today. RFK Jr. will start meeting with senators today who he'll need to back his bid to run the agency. And then there's Mitt Romney, who actually admitted the Republican Party is now MAGA and the working man's party. He gave credit to DJT, which is incredible. He was on CNN as we say goodbye to Mitt. Thank God.
How do you want history to remember Mitt Romney?
Yeah, I don't think history will remember Mitt Romney.
But
boy, I agree with that. Continue.
But if it does,
yeah,
how do you want history to remember?
Yeah, it's a footnote for somebody who's reading ancient history. I mean, you look at the civilizations that have come and gone over the 4,000 years of recorded history. The names are gone. What I want is my family to remember me.
How do you want your family to remember you?
And I want my family to remember me as someone who stood up for the things I believed, was not embarrassed by my fundamental beliefs, who loved the country and did what I believed was right to help preserve the greatest nation on earth.
And put his dogs on your station wagon.
All right. So, Blake, I got to say this. Yes. I've been in, my entire career has been in politics. For the most part, politics destroys marriages and families. It's almost like a rule, right? You look at just about every governor that's run Colorado in the last, four decades or so has gotten divorced.
Boy, that's the truth.
Members of Congress divorced. I mean, it wrecks families. Okay. There are two great guys that I had a chance to work with that did it right, involved their kids in the idea of public service. First was Rick Santorum. In 2006, he was running around Pennsylvania, running for Senate. Karen's, they rented an RV. Karen's got all the kids, and they have eight kids, I think. And she's doing the homeschooling in the RV, and Rick jumps out, gives this little stump speech, gets back in, runs, and they did a great job, right? And the Santorum kids all turned out great. And when many went on to serve their country and that type of stuff. Mitt, I met all of his sons. They all came in to help out Dad, picked him up at the airport, briefed him on the state of the race, drove him around, did all that stuff. These kids were all solid, all turned out great. And I still get Mitt's Christmas card. Just got one the other day. And it's a trifold. With the amount of grandkids he has, you have to literally open it all up. Okay. So I think anybody can absolutely criticize Mitt for his politics, and he kind of flip-flopped on just about everything out there. Right. And fair criticism, but he raised great kids. He's got a fantastic family. He did it right. He's one of the few that I've known to do it right. So that's good. I'm all for.
I respect that.
Yep, I'm all for, and it's a fair critique. He didn't, he didn't get on the Trump train. I think that was wrong. He should have. But man, he sure did it right with the kids.
Having said that, let's say goodbye to Mitt Romney. Thanks for setting me up on that one. Come on, everybody. Goodbye, Mitt. Goodbye. Hey, goodbye, Mitt Romney. I remember I was at the NCAA basketball tournament one weekend, and BYU was playing. Can't even remember who they were playing, but it was at Pepsi Center, and I see this Romney sign in the stands. I'm going, yeah, I could get along. I could go with that. And then I learned to understand who he was like 8 years later. But good for him. All right, good luck to him and his beautiful
in his
family.
book. In his book, I read his book. I had this biographer on the show at one point. We had a conversation just about a year ago, and Mitt was totally willing to just change any principle in order to get elected. He believed that it was the person you got to elect, and the person has to reflect the electorate. So if you're going to go to Massachusetts, for instance, and be the governor, and Massachusetts voters are pro-choice, well, then I'm pro-choice.
Right.
You went in.
Right.
And then he goes to Utah and is like, well, my electorate's pro-life. I'm pro-life. and he had no problem with that whatsoever. So
Michigan too, right? Now, was he from Michigan?
He was from Michigan. His pops was the governor there.
That's right.
And worked for the Ford company and all that stuff. Very successful family, great kids. But
your other favorite, Kamala Khan, she made a rare post-election appearance with Sleepy Joe over the weekend.
Our spirit is not defeated. We are not defeated. Let's be clear about that. We are strong. We are clear about why we are in this. And because you're here right now, I say, again, thank you, because not only are you clear about all of that, you're willing to put in the hard work. Yeah. And that work must continue. We cannot let any circumstance or situation or individual ever take away our power to know why we do what we do and our ability to then get that work done.
That was some good word salad. She's still working it.
You see she's going to run for governor of California.
I did see that. Whoa,
she's pulling the Nixon. You remember Nixon was VP, didn't make it, goes back and becomes governor of California. That she isn't going away.
Yeah, no, she
isn't.
And
we're gonna and the California voters are absolutely the type of people who continue to put her in office.
What's amazing is she's 100 times more corrupt than Nixon, and Nixon is 100 times smarter than her. Had the Broncos led the Colts 17-13 late in the fourth quarter yesterday.
Or use the run game or quarterback run game. They set up Mitchell. It's going to be a double pass. And that one is intercepted. Oh! It's Bonito. Unbelievable.
Wow, Nick Bonito does it again. 31-13 victory. Closing in on a playoff berth, the defense forced 5 turnovers, calm takeaways against the Colts, 4 of which happened in the second half. Bo Nix, plenty of interceptions, 4. It's 18 in Westminster, 19 in Littleton, 22 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue Monday morning. Blake Olson News Talk, 710 KNUS.
It'll be a mixture of high clouds, sun, and fairly uneventful weather here along the Front Range and eastern Colorado Plains for a bit, while there will be some snow action at times this week in the Colorado High Country. Not much going on down low. Highs will be upper 40s to near 50 today, near 30 tonight, low to mid-50s Tuesday, turning a bit colder tomorrow afternoon and a little windy, 20s tomorrow night. Highs will be 50s, lows will be 20s and 30s Wednesday through Friday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
All right, lots of text messages coming in on this conversation. What is DJT's number going to be? And no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the number of folks who are going to report, because the Wall Street Journal pointing out that some of the rhetoric coming from guys like Tom Homan have changed from we're going to have the largest mass deportation in history to, well, I don't know how much. And it depends on the resources we're given.
Yeah, I'm curious about the numbers.
I hate that line. That's just like,
yeah. Oh, it's an out.
No, it's exactly right. It's an out, and I'm like, no, push forward.
Yeah,
we're gonna deport 10 million, and it's gonna be the Democrats are gonna get in our way, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna press right through. We have control with the idea you don't have a filibuster proof control out of the Senate, but that line, and the Wall Street Journal's right to pick up on it. Longtime Border Patrol agent and Trump's former acting ICE director, Homan, said he is aware of the government's logistical and funding restraints.
Yeah.
I keep getting asked, how many people are you going to deport? Homan said in a brief interview. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Doesn't know. He doesn't know if it's
it depends
5
on
or
the
3 million.
resources we're given.
Yeah, it could be 5. Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, and I didn't ask you. Can you see our call screeners line?
I can. Yeah,
oh, okay.
so. Sorry.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, we got full lines.
We got some calls.
Yeah,
all right, let's
lines.
dive into them.
Yeah, the first one's Joe from Arvada that's going to be joining us
Perfect.
this morning. Yes, I think it's a great way to kick it off.
Joe.
Morning, Joe.
Morning. Before I give you the number, I first want to say Mitt is the perfect nickname for a rhino.
That is funny.
Just got to say it. So now, before I give you the number, you've got to put things in context. You guys left out something, and here's what it is. Nobody said how many illegals came in during Obama's term and then how many he deported. Yeah. Because look, if it was net 10 million he left in, who cares if he deported 1.6 million or whatever it is? Because the net is what's important, not how many did he just deport, because it could be 20 million he let in. See, it's important how many came in. That's why Donald Trump's numbers look so anemic, especially during his last term, because the border was being enforced. That's why. So here's the thing. Before we can have a cogent argument, we have to have some real numbers. Some think tank Elon must come up with inbound illegals during each term, and then how many were deported.
Well, but that's relevant. I'll give that to you, Joe. But at this point, we're coming after Obama and Biden, who let in, another 10, 12 million. I want to know how many of those folks are leaving, pure and simple. And I appreciate that under Trump, we're going to have less people coming in, but you had 10 to 12 million at least illegal immigrants that came in under Biden. And the fact that Homan's like, well, I don't know, depends on the resources. That sounds like just an early 2000s Republican answer.
Well, okay, then let me give you my argument on what it should be, and then I will give you the number that I think it will be. What it should be is what made America great. See, we are a nation of immigrants. We have to let in legal immigration of people that really we want here. And I don't care about the poem on the Statue of Liberty. It should be valuable people that are coming here that want to be Americans, not haters, not drug pushers. So here's my argument. What made America great is we let a lot of people that wanted to come to America, that wanted to be Americans in around World War I, and then we went on a long span of zero immigration where we assimilated people.
Yeah.
And so here's what made America great. Everybody here wanted to be here and wanted to fight for the American dream. That's what made America great. So here's where we need to go now is this. We have a lot of people that came here, I'm sorry, to defecate on America. We do not need those people here, and they need to be removed.
So what's the number, Joe?
The number is 47.
47 million?
No, 47 total. And here's why I say that. If we had 12 years of net zero, where we got rid of the filth and we brought in the best and we shipped out all of these monster drug pushers, the criminals, you have no idea the massive size of the criminal element that is coming in and it's in the jails that needs to be deported.
Mm-hmm.
But we only have about 1.5 million to 2 million of those, Joe, total. He says there are 22 million illegals in the country. He's only going to get to 2 million there. But he's only
There's
going to
be 1.2 million every year in those jails that are going to be deported.
Not necessarily, but even if we get the ones, because those numbers have accumulated over the course of years. It's not just happened in the last 12 months. Those 1.2, those 1.5 to 2 million didn't just get sentenced.
You don't know your numbers.
Joe, yes, I do. I did the research. Yes.
Well,
Yes, I do.
You just got through telling us that you don't know the real numbers because it's all phony baloney on the internet.
No. I said the total numbers of Barack Obama's deportations and Trump's deportations. That's what I cited. I have looked into the number of criminals that are under deportation orders that we have in the system.
We don't even know the number of crimes. Give me a break.
No, that's
Sir,
a good point.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. They have to.
Sanctuary cities.
They
don't get that.
Well, hang on a second.
No,
these are people. No. Joe is wrong on this because these are people that have been convicted of crimes and are under current deportation orders. This is exactly what Donald Trump's administration is talking about in the Wall Street Journal article is talking about. Those are the people that they can deport right now. 1.5 to 2 million
only under deportation
that are
orders.
under deportation orders or are being held as criminals.
And Denver's not notifying the ICE of that.
But they could be under.
Here's the thing. We
could
set up a machine, and I think Donald Trump is going to do this, where for one, if you're arrested, the first thing that should happen is your deportation order should be sent down from above. In other words, they put you through the instantaneous deportation. You were arrested. They go back. They look, you were here under this. Well, I'm sorry, you committed a crime, and you were supposed to remain in a probationary period until your hearing. We've expedited that to now, and as soon as you're arrested, you're deported.
Okay, Joe, I've got a question for you. What prevents them from coming back?
Oh, that's where you really have misunderestimated what Donald Trump did.
Good.
The border was in effect. You missed it. See, this is where liberals did not understand what happened in the election. Donald Trump did enforce the border. You think he didn't, but he did, and every conservative knows it. That's why we elected him.
Then how did the illegals come in during Donald Trump's administration?
Well, they did, but they also remained in Mexico. Did you forget about that?
No, I'm sorry. They can't come into the country if they were made in Mexico.
That's right. And the deportations were notably small because there was a notably small element getting through.
What's that number, Joe? Since you've done the research, what's that number?
Well, I would say this, that the total number that Donald Trump let get through was the lowest in the last 20 years.
How do you know that?
Because I'm brilliant.
You don't, do you? No, Joe. I appreciate the call, but you don't know. You're just making it up. And I appreciate that, but it's somewhat of a disconnect here, Joe, when you accuse me of making my numbers up and telling me that I don't know, when you're obviously, based on the questions I asked you, pulling numbers out of your rear end. I mean, it's, just be honest, man. You don't know.
Joe made some good points. I appreciate his call. Phone line is open. Joe's line is open, 303-696-1971. We're going to continue because we got near full phone lines. What's the number that Donald Trump has to deport in order for you to feel like his first term is successful? For me, the number's 4 million. Now, that would be double what Barack Obama did. I think that would be successful. Now, is it the 22 million that are here illegally that DJT says is there? No, not at all. It's not close to that, but it's a great start. I think it sends a strong message, and that's where I'm going to be happy, but I'm concerned. This Wall Street Journal article that DJT and the Trump administration starting to walk it back because Tom Homan's saying, well, now I don't know the number we're going to deport. And it all depends on the resources we're given. Really? Come on, push hard. And this is where I'm putting my hope in Stephen Miller. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking, what does Trump need to hit with regards to mass deportations in order for you to feel that his term was successful? Reason I bring this up, the Wall Street Journal over the weekend, Trump allies fear watered down deportation efforts. They bring this up because some of the rhetoric has changed. Tom Homan saying not that we're going to deport 5 million, 10 million, or even 2 million, but instead saying, how many people are you going to deport? Well, I don't know. It depends on the resources we're given. Well, why are we now backing off from this? Shouldn't we have a goal, a number? We're going to hit this. And if Democrats throw problems in our way, lawsuits, those types of things, we've got to be able to challenge them directly and go, no, our goal is 4 million. That's what I think. And I raise that because under Obama, you were looking at about 1.5, 1.6. I want to see that doubled. And that would even be a lot more than Trump saw in his first term. So I appreciate that Trump is going to remain in Mexico. We may not have as many people coming in, but if we've got 22 million illegal immigrants in this country, people that already broke the law by coming here illegally and taking resources from American citizens like Denver, having to cut resources in other places in order to serve illegal immigrants, I want to see 4 million. That's my number. Let's go to the phone lines. We've got Jim, Denver. Good morning, Jim. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning. Nobody's going to come anywhere near Obama's numbers, period. Donald Trump's going to deport some people, but I guarantee that every single person he deports, he's going to count them 3 separate times. Once when they cross the border, once when they leave the state, and once when they leave the factory or farm. Because Donald Trump is just really terrible with numbers. But he'll talk about it all day long. So you've got to understand that there's roughly 1 million farmers that lost their farms and went belly up during his first term. And that's while he was pumping in $28 billion to overcome the small tariff issue that they have with China directly into the farmers. These farmers, these agriculture people, half or more of the people they employ are illegal aliens. So when you're paying farmers to stay in business and hire illegals, that's an electromagnet that they're turning on. They're bringing more people in than they're kicking out. Even Romney said, hey, we just got to rely on self-deportation years ago, right? I mean, these people are terrible with numbers.
You know,
and
Jim,
you got to understand. Yeah.
The thing that I look at is, unless we are fixing our current immigration system, it remains as an incentive to sneak across the border. If it takes you a decade to get through the process and you want to start a new life, or you're trying to escape a place in which you don't want your kids to end up in gangs or sold off into, human trafficking, or you just don't have any way to make the life better for your kids, you're not going to wait 10 years. I mean, if you applied for a job or applied to get into, let's say you're applying for an MBA and the college says, we'll let you know in a decade. You wouldn't sit there and wait for a decade for that educational opportunity. You'd find a different way to access the information and the opportunity. And until we fix our immigration system, it is still going to incentivize illegal immigration.
Incentivize, we're paying them.
Yes.
The business community, the agriculture community is sending recruiters down, and they're promising people that they will quadruple their wage by just coming to America and working in my farm or my factory or my fast food restaurant, okay? We take illegals and we put them in our food distribution network, and we don't even teach them how to flush the toilet paper in this country because they stick it in the trash can or on the floor next to the toilet, okay? We have a sickness here because we need this slave cheap labor, which is still paid less than an American worker. So
now,
the
Jim,
American workers need
Jim,
to eat.
I'll give you. I don't think you're wrong at all in the sense that we become addicted to it,
not wrong.
and with our businesses. But Do you think communities are finally waking up to the fact that the tax burden that results as a result of these illegal immigrants? So, for instance, Denver can't pay for its hospitals anymore. It's cutting for its police. What it used to be is that people would come in, work ag, and then leave and go back to Mexico. It's not that anymore. They're flooding these cities and these states, these sanctuary states, and we just can't afford it anymore.
Listen, American society is living hand to mouth. They don't care about taxes because hardly anybody's paying taxes. The people that are paying taxes are trying to get out of paying taxes. So ear, nose, and throat, regardless of what we think about taxes, we have to eat as a society. And the majority of these illegals were brought here for the agricultural world. Okay, so there's Republican representatives in Florida for the last year, since they passed that law last July, have been begging illegal aliens not to leave the state.
Jim, I just think I understand, but I think that's part of the old paradigm where they came in, they served in the food, but in the food industry, but now you're dealing with such a heavy tax impact in Denver, for instance, that they can't even make their budget anymore. So Jim, I appreciate the call. We're just out of time. Jim's line will be open 303-696-1971. I think there's a mandate because the math just doesn't work anymore. Okay. And the paradigm has shifted. And I want to see Trump mass deport up to 4 million. Give us a call. Tell me what the number is. Jim's line is open 303-696-1971. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. I got a poll up at x.com/Jeff Hunt. How many illegal immigrants does Trump have to deport for his term to be successful? 1, 4, 8, or 20 million? Right now, 20 million leading. 20 million.
Wow.
All right.
That's
like
a surprise.
that's like 20 times more than what he got during his first term.
That's impressive.
To be successful.
Just to be successful. That's crazy.
Let's go to the phone lines. Mary, Wyoming. Good morning, Mary. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, morning.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. One of the things that I'm going to be like Joe, I'm going to give you the numbers after my comment. My comment is Trump has to have executive orders immediately, no federal dollars for benefits.
I appreciate that. And no federal dollars going to sanctuary cities. But
that's true.
How many does he have to get out of here for you to feel like he's successful?
But what you're not taking into account, like in other words, I would like to finish and say, E-Verify.
Yes.
That also has to be a requirement, and that's said by executive order.
Right. I agree with that.
And then, like I said, then when he does the 14th Amendment, are you going to count those that no longer? I think he's going to try to get that through on the 14th Amendment babies.
Right.
And if that happens, those can't become in. So in other words, and we're not supporting them. I would hope those numbers go towards that. I would go with your 4 million if you have. I hate having a number.
Oh, I don't. I want a clear goal. Donald Trump works for the American people, and the American people expect how many?
Reporting the numbers that are being deported, yes.
Yeah.
But not that it has to be. In other words, let's find out, because, there's going to be all kinds of activist judges.
Yes.
They're going to start putting all kinds of things on at the beginning on who he can deport and who he can't. And that has... in other words, that's going to impact his numbers.
Mary, does it concern you, though, that now Tom Homan's saying, well, I don't know how many we're going to deport. It just depends on the resources we're given.
No, I think that we need to put pressure on, okay, is it getting the wall built? In other words, so that they can't come in. Let's have benchmarks. I'm not disagreeing. Yeah. I just think the numbers, unless we see what that he has to face. That's... Billy's able to beat him up about his numbers last time, because that's what he's always talking about. Well, look, he didn't get the wall built. He never goes back into hell. Nobody helped him try to get the wall built.
Wait, Mary, though, we didn't have to try to get the wall built. He said Mexico's going to pay for it. That's part of the issue.
He got them to stay in Mexico, and guess what? Mexico paid for that.
No, but the wall.
Oh, but see exactly what I'm saying.
No, the
I'm
wall
saying
was
exactly
supposed
that.
to be. No, I'm saying exactly. I'm just holding him to what he says. I think that is valuable and reasonable.
And he would have tried, and he would have been able to if his own party would have even been supportive. He had no support.
Mary,
no, I disagree.
Great call. I agree with you, Mary. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS. And holy cow, did we kick it off, dude. Bro.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so here's what we're discussing. And it is absolutely jam-packed phone lines. Okay? How many illegal immigrants does Trump have to deport for his term to be successful? Okay, so I want to remind everybody, Donald J. Trump works for the American people. All right, we set the terms. And I appreciate Trump. I think Trump, great guy. Very excited. He's the president of the United States. But at the end of the day, the dude works for us. Okay. Now, I've put a poll at x.com/Jeff Hunt. How many illegal immigrants does Trump have to deport for his term to be successful? Now, his first term, around 1 million.
Yeah.
1 million. Okay. So I put in there, the options are 1 million, 4 million, 8 million, and 20 million. 20 million people.
Yeah.
That is leading 60% in the vote.
No way. That's crazy. That is crazy.
20. So for him to be successful,
wow,
DJT has to hit 20 million in his deportation. Now, we bring this up because over the weekend, and I've started to notice this too.
Yeah.
Is some of the people in the administration walking back what their numbers are going to be. Tom Homan, who was here with Lauren Boebert just recently, great guy, super happy. He's leading ICE. But he was asked, how many people are you going to deport? And he says, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it depends on the resources we're given.
That wasn't what he was saying a couple of weeks ago. That wasn't what he was saying prior. That wasn't when he was appearing on Fox News. That wasn't his statements about how to deport the illegals. That wasn't what he said. The administration, he never stood there when I saw him on Fox News, and he never sat there and said, well, it depends on the resources that are available to the Biden administration as far as how many people they can deport. It was never in his language. It was never a qualifier in what he was talking about. But now it's about resources that he has available. But that's not the impression that was given during the campaign as far as what can and will be accomplished.
I want a number and I want a goal. And I think it only helps Republicans. If Republicans come out and say 4 million, 4 million is a goal, which 4 million is incredible. It is 4 times more than anybody else has gotten. Okay, that's a big win as far as mass deportations.
I think Obama comes up above 3
in 4 years.
Not in 4 years. No, but of course of it. But I don't know. Yeah, but the 4 million would be incredible.
Right.
It would
that would be a huge win. Set the benchmark. Any CEO does this. Any executive does this. You set the benchmark. You organize your people, and you go after it. Because look, if the problem is going to be resources, right? And I'm not discounting it. I think the Democrats are going to throw everything. Democrats love illegal immigrants. They love illegal immigrants more than they love American citizens. They're going to throw everything.
I don't think they love illegals more than they love American citizens because
I think they prioritize them.
No, I don't think so at all because
Denver did.
No, I disagree with that. And here's the reason why. This is the reason why the politicians don't is because they don't vote for them. That's the issue. That's the only thing. If the illegals were allowed to vote, then I think you might be able to make that argument. But more importantly, and the reason I interrupted you, more importantly is they don't want Trump to succeed. So they will gum up the works in any way they possibly can because for me, it's more important in their minds to not have Trump be a success. I go back to Mitch McConnell when Barack Obama gets into his first term and McConnell says that the Republicans are now the party of no. Doesn't matter what the Democrats want to do. We are going to say no and do everything we can to stop it. That will be the plan of the Democrats.
And I understand that's what the Democrats are going to do.
Yep, that's what they're going to do.
They're going to try to lawsuit this all, but it comes across as incredibly weak when you go, I don't know. It just depends on how much the Democrats are willing to play with us. No. We're going to hit 4 million. That's our goal. And if you stand in our way, we're going to use every dang resource we have to blow right through you.
Or at least set the bar and say the only reason we don't get there is if they stop us.
Yes.
Say we have the ability to do this. The only reason we don't get to do this is because they stop us, which is what they tried to do with the wall. They tried to say, well, the Democrats didn't give us money. No. You promised the money was coming from Mexico. No, you said the money was for the walls coming from Mexico.
Yeah,
the Democrats
I disagree.
No, he said
Democrats got in the way with that.
No,
and I think the Democrats, Mexico did help pay for it.
But objectively, on the campaign trail. He said Mexico was going to pay for it over and over and over again. That is not a debatable issue. He said he even during one conversation said he didn't know if Mexico was going to write a giant check, like with that Publishers Clearinghouse thing. He didn't know. He was joking around. But he said the money was coming from Mexico.
And I think Mexico did help pay for it.
That is not debatable. No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they did.
They absolutely did.
They how? What part of the wall do they pay
for? Through tariffs and through the resources they had to put into remain in Mexico.
Tariffs are paid by the Americans, not by Mexicans. Tariffs on goods coming out of Mexico.
You and I are going to go into the tariff debate right now.
I'm just saying is you can't count that as money. You can't count it as money. No, it isn't, because it's paid by Americans. Those are American taxpayer dollars, not Mexico pesos that are paying.
Taxpayer dollars that pay for
yes,
the
they
tariffs.
are. Yes.
No.
What?
No, I understand you say that the importer pays, but the importer is going to pass along those costs to somebody else. It's either going to be
which is going to be the American consumer.
The businesses that send the resources from Mexico. This is why China and Mexico are so afraid of tariffs.
The importer pays them. So it's an American company, American taxpayer paying them. And then as it goes
they're
down
not
the line,
just going to eat it. They're going to pass it along. And you say it's passed on. You say it passes on to the end consumer. I say it passes on to the start. That's why China and Mexico to the start of that process, to the actual producer.
No, it doesn't.
That was the word I was looking for.
No.
Yes. No. Then that's why
not how it works. No.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. That's not functionally how tariffs work. Here's the idea: is if you put tariff on Chinese
Canada
steel,
would not care at all about tariffs.
Yes, they would.
Why? If the producer's not paying for it, why does Canada care about tariffs?
What happens when your good or service becomes more expensive to import?
Yes.
Happens.
They go look elsewhere.
Ta-da!
Or
ta-da!
They turn the cost back on the producer.
Why would the producer pay? They don't.
Because they have to import it.
No, they don't. They don't have to import it. They can go somewhere else and sell to someone else.
Yes,
They'll sell. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. That's the issue. But trade's not bilateral. It's not only between two people. And so you have opportunities to go somewhere else.
Yes.
Which is the reason that I dislike strikes by public unions, because I do not have another choice if you go on strike. Just like in the tariffs, they have opportunity to go sell to anybody else. And that's what they did. And that's what happens. So it's not paid by the person that is.
All right. Billy and I are kicking it off.
It's
8 a.m.
It's an economic fundamental principle. It doesn't happen that way.
Oh my goodness. All right. Welcome to the Jeff and Bill Show. If you've
morning.
never listened to us before, we kick it off this way. We have absolutely jam-packed phone lines. And the original question
we got to go back to that.
was, how many illegal immigrants does Trump have to deport for his term to be successful? 1, 4, 8, or 20 million. If you believe it's 20 million, you have a lot of trust in Trump to be able to do that. And my question is whether or not if he doesn't, then by your own vote. And the fact it's over 60% of people believe that.
Yeah. And the weird part
is Trump going to fail if he doesn't hit 20 million?
Weird part is even the immigration people don't think there are 20 million in the country to deport. He reasonably probably can't get to that number.
I
mean, there aren't enough people possibly. That is a real threat to that 20 million number.
Yeah.
There may not be enough people. He could deport every illegal in America and might not be able to reach 20 million. That should scare people.
I mean, the comments in here, we got a lot of high standards on this poll. I agree, but wow. As many as are logistically possible, says another.
That could be
all
two.
Of them.
It could be two.
I don't all of them. Somebody wrote all of them.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think we're seeing in that poll. That's where I think the wind is blowing.
Then the second question is, if Trump doesn't hit that, is that a failure?
Yeah.
And who do you put the failure on at that point?
Person in charge who said he could do it.
Or the Democrats that are getting in the way. But I mean, what bothers me though,
the coach is fired. Even when the team underperforms, the coach is fired.
That's a good point. All right, we'll get to the phone lines. But first, news and comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake. You want to join the battle?
Oh, man, I love it. I love it. Hey, I have to ask you this, kind of changing the subject, Billy and Jeff. How does it feel? It looks like you don't have a window in front of you anymore. Are you right across the table from Jeff?
there's a window.
Yeah, there's
there's always glass
so
between Bill and I.
You still can't.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's like the glass with the tiger. It's really important.
It is.
Okay.
It's very important. That way
it
when we
looks,
throw
it
things
looks
at
like
each other, it's
right.
better that way.
Okay, I was going to say that must feel weird, but you still have the window in
It
front
technically was written into the contract that we shouldn't be able to touch each other during the show just in case something got out of control. So we have to be in different rooms as part of the contract.
Okay, I got you. I was like, how are you doing that with the phones and everything? And you look like you're at the same table. That's good.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
it looks that way.
No, it looks really good. I love it. Yeah, it's a great discussion. I have no idea, Jeff, but I think at least 3 or 4 million. I'd be happy with that. Realistically,
does it bother you though that Tom Homan is starting to go? Well, I don't know. It just depends on the resources we're given.
Yeah,
doesn't that
a little
seem
bit
kind of weak.
It does a little bit, but maybe they'll outperform. Under promise, over deliver.
Well, that's a good point. Stephen Miller was here in Aurora at the rally, and holy cow, he was so clear. It was awesome. He goes, "Don't apologize for your culture, for your neighborhoods. Right. You don't have to turn your neighborhoods over to bands of illegal immigrants. You don't have to do that."
Correct.
And he was so clear, so strong. And the fact that he's deputy chief. I'm literally putting all my eggs in one basket with him, going, I think he's going to press this through. I don't think he's going to accept wishy-washy Republicans that go, well, what about the farmers? What about the ag community? What about the, all that? Sure. I mean, because you're going to get that. You're absolutely going to get that. And it's not just going to come from the Democrats. It's going to come from the Republicans as well. And I don't think Steve's going to put up with it. I think he's going to press right through. I appreciate the fact he's willing to do it. And I do think there's a mandate from the American people to address these massive amount of illegal immigrants that have come into this country. And I sure hope Steve presses it all the way through.
Well, it sounds like it. I mean, it's based on the listeners, what they think, and your poll on X. You said you did that on X, right?
Right. It's on x.com/Jeff Hunt. Go vote there. Yeah. We're at nearly 100 votes, and 62% are saying 20 million. I mean, 20 million.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's a little more than I expected, but we'll see. Hopefully they can get it done. 23 and sunny in Denver. Expecting a high of 47 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, DJT's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, is looking for support on Capitol Hill today. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports that RFK Jr. will be meeting with senators who support he will need to win confirmation.
Kennedy expected to face questions about his views on vaccines now after the New York Times reported that a lawyer who's helping RFK Jr. build his team petitioned the FDA to revoke approval of a polio vaccine 2 years ago.
Kennedy has more than 24 meetings lined up this week. Stocks are higher after the opening bell on Wall Street. Markets are coming off a sluggish week as investors look ahead to the Federal Reserve's final policy meeting of the year. Homeland Security, that is, Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says that more personnel and technology will be used to help New Jersey State Police address the drone sightings. This is ridiculous. The government knows what's going on, and more than likely this is another distraction or a test run. Who knows? The deep state knows. That's who. Last week, the White House said that there's no evidence the drones pose a national security or public safety threat. Investigators say multiple people are dead after a weekend shooting in Aurora. Officers were called to an apartment on East Evans on Saturday morning after the shooting was reported. A 20-year-old woman and 1-year-old girl died from gunshot wounds after being taken to the hospital. Police say the 19-year-old male suspect was found dead inside the apartment. Investigators are calling the shooting a family-related domestic violence incident. The suspect in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, Luigi Mangione, could be indicted this week by a Manhattan grand jury. The indictment would then trigger Governor Kathy Hochul to issue a warrant to extradite Mangione to New York from Pennsylvania. Rosie O'Donnell, remember her? She just can't handle it. She just knows that her life and millions of others' lives are going to be destroyed by the Trumpster on with Bill O'Reilly.
What Donald Trump is doing is trying to become an authoritarian, a dictator, and he is the worst thing that ever happened to this nation. And I totally disagree with you saying that he didn't have anything to do with the insurrection, that he didn't instigate it, plan it, demand it of his fans, because he did, Bill.
Let's do it. All right. A New York doctor who mailed the abortion pill to a woman in the Dallas suburbs is being sued by Texas. Last week's announcement sets up a showdown between the state's near total ban on abortion and New York's shield laws. The lawsuit targets the founder of the Abortion Coalition for Telemedicine. The Broncos were leading 17-13 late in the game against the Colts here in Denver on Sunday.
Or use the run game or quarterback run game. They set up Mitchell. It's going to be a double pass. And that one is intercepted. Oh! It's Bonito. Unbelievable.
Nick Bonito, another huge play on defense. 31-13 victory over the Colts. The defense forced 5 turnovers against Indianapolis, 4 of which came in the second half alone. Bo Nix had 3 interceptions. I thought he had 4. He had 3. Sorry about that, Bo. 19 in Brighton, 20 in Wheat Ridge, 23 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. It is Monday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It'll be a mixture of high clouds, sun, and fairly uneventful weather here along the Front Range and eastern Colorado Plains for a bit, while there will be some snow action at times this week in the Colorado high country. Not much going on down low. Highs will be upper 40s to near 50 today, near 30 tonight, low to mid-50s Tuesday. Turning a bit colder tomorrow afternoon and a little windy. 20s tomorrow night. Highs will be 50s, lows will be 20s and 30s Wednesday through Friday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill show. We've got jam-packed phone lines. The question today is what number? What is the number that Donald Trump has to hit with regards to mass deportations for you to believe that his first term was successful? Now, the reason we bring this up is over the weekend, the Wall Street Journal pointed this out, and I've started to notice it as well. And it's a major topic of conversation among conservatives. We're watching the Trump administration start to walk back their commitment to mass deportations. Bring this up because Tom Homan, who I think is a great guy, said this in the Wall Street Journal: I keep getting asked, how many people are you going to deport? Homan said in a brief interview, well, I don't know. It depends on the resources we're given. So it sounds like they're starting to walk it back. Maybe not. But what is the number that they need to hit in order for you to believe they were successful? My number, 4 million. And I bring up 4 million because it's well over double the amount of that Obama did. It's 4 times more than Trump got in his first term. And I understand the importance of shutting it off, not having as many illegal immigrants in there. That's all important. But for the 20 or so million illegal immigrants that are here now, how many have to leave for you to believe that Trump has been successful? And what's the number we're going to hold him to account for? Let's go to Francis Golden. You're on the Jeff and Bill show. Good morning, Francis.
Hey, gang. How's it going? First or last full week to get anything done at work.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Reality. Hey, I think I'm going to back up Billy here a little bit. Is that a number is really irrelevant if you're not fixing the system. And Jeff, I think it would be a miracle if he can get 4 million. I don't think that's probably doable. But to me, 2 million is fine if you fix somehow the system. It's true. It takes you 10 years to legally immigrate here. And if you've ever been here illegally, assuming that they can identify you as somebody who was here illegally, you can never be here legally. And so this is a huge problem, because if you're looking at a number of 20 million illegals, right? 20 million people who managed to pull themselves out of whatever rat nest country they came from to come here, that shows an awful lot of gumption. And in my estimation, some of those people, I mean, certainly there's an element of criminality and things like that, but some of those people are people you probably want here just out of their character to have done what they've done. And you got to find a way to keep them here legally. And so unless you're fixing the system, the rest of this number stuff really means nothing.
So, Francis, the only reason I push back on you with regards to fixing the system is because John Fabricatori, who's a regular friend of the show, has been in here, goes, no, the system's just fine. I understand maybe you don't want people to wait 10 years to get here. But with regards to the actual laws out there, we just don't enforce them. The laws are on the books to get people who come here illegally. I have a different take than you. I mean, yeah, you're right in the sense that it took gumption to come here. But what these people have demonstrated to me is that their first act into this great country was to break one of our laws. I don't think that these are the types of people I want to build my country around if that's their first act coming into this country. Now, so what's your response to what Fabricatori says, which is we don't need to fix the system. We just need to enforce the laws, and we're not doing it on purpose.
Well, I think he is right. I do think the system needs to be fixed internally, though, as well. I do think that's correct. I think if you use E-Verify and you jump on these employers who hire illegals intentionally, knowing they're illegal and things like that, it helps really stem the flow. But so I think Fabricatori is probably correct about that. But the rest of it is true. I don't see why. And look, I agree with you, Jeff, that your first act as a person in, with feet in this country is to act illegally. I think that is a huge problem. That's why I'm always advocating something similar to the French Foreign Legion, where you can actually do some penance and become a citizen nationally. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's worked in other countries. And I think the vast majority of illegals are here because they want to be here. They view this as a good opportunity to pull themselves out of a mess otherwise. And I think that's how most all immigrants, whether legal or illegal, that's been their primary goal. So I think we should work to facilitate that, not hurt it. But the other thing I wanted to mention, Jeff, is that this isn't Trump's first term. This is his second term.
You're right.
So
you're right.
I know you keep saying that, but I know it. I was like,
I'm pointing out that he's only got 4 years. It's not a combined 8 years. So when you compare to Obama, who had straight 8 years to be able to implement, Trump gets 4 years going, gets stopped. We now switch to Biden, who just basically is like, come on in. And now Trump's got to try to fix that over again. But yes, you're correct.
I've never quite understood the Democrats' position on illegal immigration. It seems to me why they take the position they do, because it seems to me that by and large, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face.
Yeah.
And because a lot of these people are not going to be very supportive of Democratic policies and things like that. And in the long run, I think it's kind of a cynical pandering to a group, primarily Hispanics, to just get a vote that they think they can get for just in the immediate future and nothing else.
Well, and
I don't,
Francis, to that point, well, I'll tell you why, because what underpins the Democrat worldview is Marxism, which is the idea that there are oppressors and they're oppressed, and the illegal immigrants are an oppressed people. So everything should be geared towards them. This is why you saw the anti-Semitism on college campuses, is that anytime there's oppressors and oppressed, we always stand on the side of, quote, the oppressed. But to your point about pandering to Hispanics, what I've always found fascinating about Democrats is that they lump them all together. So we actually went down.
Do.
What's that?
They do.
Yeah,
So does the GOP.
Well,
because the GOP says all those illegals are only coming over the border because the Democrats want to convert them all into voters. Yet, what did we see after this last election? Trumpeting. Look at all the Latinos that went and voted for Trump. What happened there? What happened there with this bromide I've been hearing for a decade plus about all these illegals, all these Latinos are coming in because they are lifelong, rock solid Dem voters. Again, I'm throwing the BS flag. I've been throwing it for years on that whole idea. Both parties use this as a whole.
The Democrats believe that the illegal immigrants are a potential future voting bloc?
I believe both parties believe they're a potential future voting bloc.
What do you mean by that?
That both parties view them as a potential future voting bloc.
So you agree?
Both Republicans and Democrats.
that the Republicans are right in the sense that the Democrats want or implementing a scheme.
No, I'm agreeing.
In order
that
they're going to become a future.
No. What I'm saying is that both the Democrats and the Republicans view illegal immigrants as a potential voting bloc. They view them differently, but they both view them as a potential voting bloc. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But I think Billy is right in the long run here. I really do. I think that there's a cynical reason for why both parties have just, turned a blind eye to this. I mean, it just is. It's really. They view them as things to be used and not as people in any sort of desperate situation. I think that's how they view Hispanic illegal immigrants. Both parties. They're just tools.
Francis, I appreciate the call.
Yeah,
thanks so much. Francis's line will be open. 303-696-1971. I want to talk to you real quick about my friends over at Advanced Hair Restoration. Look, for many of us, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing, maybe hair loss has you feeling like your identity's lost altogether. Well, I've got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. Look, we've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. Help retain what you have, but what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Pauls, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Look, I've had family members get their hair done, and it changed their lives. It brought back energy and a youthfulness to them that affected every aspect of their lives, their love life, their relationship with their kids, their work. All that stuff improved because they had more energy that came from looking and feeling great. So why don't you check out Advanced Hair? It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Give them a call at 720-459-HAIR, 720-459-HAIR, or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. Let's go to Tony Littleton. Good morning, Tony. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, good morning. So I don't have a number, and because I said months ago to you guys that this is never going to happen anyway. It's like tariffs. It's not going to happen. Trump campaigning on getting rid of Biden's alternative energy projects. It's not going to happen either. And this is just one of those cases. He used those to get votes, get guys like Joe and Arvada all excited. But now he's running into the reality. And that is, a year from now, nobody's going to be asking how many people did he deport. They're going to be asking, where's inflation at? Where's job growth at? And where's the growth of the economy at? That's what they're going to be looking at next December. And he's running into static now from all kinds of people. Republicans are saying, hey, wait a minute. Like in Texas, a Texas Republican came out the other day and said, we have over 300,000 undocumented Hispanics working in construction here. Mm-hmm. We cannot afford to lose those guys. We need houses. Housing is relatively affordable in Texas, but it only stays that way if they keep building houses. You had a caller that talked about the same thing in Florida was happening. When DeSantis clamped down, they just said, fine, we'll go to Georgia. And then they tried to, they've changed and they're trying to keep those immigrants there so they can repair the homes that are damaged, after every storm. So that's holding him back. And the tariff thing,
Tony, hold on. I don't want to get off on tariffs. But Tony, if Donald Trump becomes the biggest deporter of illegal immigrants that this country's ever seen. Would you consider that successful?
No, because inflation will be really high.
There's nothing he can do that you're going to deem successful.
No, it's all right.
Only if he doesn't deport anybody would you see it as successful.
It's not. It's not even the number. It's you can don't screw up the economy. Jeff, hold on. It's don't screw up the economy. He can deport. I don't care if he deports 1 million, 10 million, 15 million. Don't screw up the economy.
So if the economy gets better, if he deports people and the economy gets better, you'd consider him a successful president?
Because that would be a miracle. And he's being told, he's being warned already by economists across the board. Don't screw this up. You need these people. If he deported 5 or 10 million, grocery pricing is going to go up 25%. And people are going to be pissed. They voted on the price of eggs. They're going to be really mad if a year from now eggs are twice what they are when he took office. And there will be a lot of people reminding everybody what they were when he won.
Tony, I've asked people on X via poll if they would be willing to pay more in order to mass deport people and have fewer drugs and human trafficking coming across this border. And everybody said yes. I mean, it was like 90% yes.
Sure. They say that, and they say that now because but when they can't get a house, their rents are gone up, housing prices have gone up, grocery prices have gone up. They're not going to be any more forgiving.
Well, we'll have to see, Tony.
We'll see.
We'll have to see. I appreciate the call. Tony's line is open, 303-696-1971. Tony believes that the sky is going to fall with mass deportations. Everything's going to get more expensive. We can't build homes. We can't pick crops. We'll have to see.
That's the danger with the idea of we will take higher prices and things in order to make sure that we accomplish this goal, because you're assuming an outcome. And we see nothing that has shown us that either party can get us to those outcomes. So taking the deal and not knowing the outcome can be achieved, that's a fool's bargain. That's a dangerous thing to do, because you're taking a part of a deal that you don't know and don't have any expectations really of that person being able to fulfill. So that's a fool's bargain. And I understand where Fabricatore is coming from when he's talking about the system working just fine. But if you have an asylum claim, it takes you 3 to 5 years to get that adjudicated.
Yeah, you just sit here.
That's not that's country. But that's how the system's working now. The system's not working fine. That's not fine.
Well, I think there's people abusing the system. But right, they step across anywhere and they're like, asylum.
That's not fine. That means that the system should be moving them through quickly. They have a right once they claim it to have
abusing it.
But hang on a sec. But once you acclaim it, how do you decide without giving them a hearing? You can't just decide on that moment. You have no information. You can't do anything. No, you can't.
Why?
No, you can't. The same reason that you don't.
You can say claim asylum in the country, the nearest country. The fact that you just cross over into this border and get to claim asylum, and then all of a sudden 5 years later we'll have a hearing.
That's a broken system.
Or there's people abusing the system.
Even if they are, you need to get them through the system to find that out. That's why the system's there to look at it. You don't sit there and you're not the judge, jury, and executioner. You're not the decider at that moment. We're not asking our Border Patrol agents to also be the judges on asylum cases. They don't have the experience, the knowledge, the training, or the ability, nor the time to do that at that point. How do they possibly decide when this person comes in and says, I'm claiming asylum, whether or not the case is relevant or not? They have no clue. That has to be done through a process. And the problem is our process is broken. Right now, it's 3 to 5 years. That's crap. That is ridiculous. But that's how the system is functioning. The system is not okay right now. It's not okay.
And you put the burden on the system, and I'm putting the burden on the people abusing the system. So I think that's where the difference lies.
Yeah, but you can't catch the abuse without the system. There's no way to identify them. Have to have the system.
Well, I'm not saying that you don't have to have the system.
Yes, the system's broken. That we need to change the system to get those people that are lying to us out of here quicker. I want the same goal you want. I want them out of here quicker. The only way to do it is through the system. It's the only way to get those fake asylum seekers out of here. But you have to get them through the system because everybody deserves a hearing.
I do think there's a difference, though, between you and a lot of progressives when it comes to fixing the system. So, absolutely. What you're saying is we need to fix it. And if they're liars, we're willing to get them out.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of progressives that are like, mass amnesty. That's the way we fix the system.
Yep, exactly. And that's wrong. Yep. Completely and totally wrong. Yeah. You fix it. We have fabricatory is right that we have the laws and we need to enforce them.
Yeah.
But the process is crap. The asylum system's broken. And in my opinion, the way that our legal immigration system is set up just encourages illegal immigration. It doesn't encourage naturalization. It encourages you to go around the system because the way to get in naturally is so burdensome and takes way too long. Not a lot of people are going to wait that long.
Do you think, though, it's fair for a country to go, these are the types of people we want, and these are the types of people we don't want? So, for instance,
it depends on what your classifications are, because I think every country has the ability and does do that.
Yeah, right.
But it depends on what
we want Asian, high-performing computer tech people. And we're going to allow those cultures to send over people. Meanwhile, low-skilled people from other countries, we're going to reduce the amount of immigration from the low-skilled people from other countries.
Yeah, the problem on that one is that some of the low-skilled people, we can bring in all the tech people, but that's not going to solve our housing crisis. Those low-tech people are the people we need to build the houses in order to solve the housing crisis. So there are some issues as far as give and take inside the system.
Right. But it's fair. But it's fair to prioritize certain.
I'm not sure. I'm not certain necessarily that it depends on how you use the word fair, but I would use the word reasonable. That it is reasonable for countries to prioritize it that way. However, the American system comes with an added layer, and that has to do with the plaque on the Statue of Liberty that Joe was willing to throw away earlier.
Yeah,
there's a difference in as far as how America was born and what the promise of the American dream is, and it was never give us your intelligent, well-heeled.
But it's not gospel.
No, but it's a promise. It's the idea of what America was built on. And if
At
you're
a certain
saying,
time.
and if you're saying, if you're saying now, well, America's not that anymore, and we're not going to be that anymore. Right. Okay, but
Things
be
have
honest.
changed.
Be honest about it when you're talking about patriotism. You're talking about the founding fathers. Be honest about the fact that you don't think the values and things that were there then exist now.
Well,
and
it was
we can
generally
an
an empty country at that point. So I get that, but
we got a lot of open space. Have you been to Montana? Been there? It's a lot of open space.
Well,
we got a lot of open
federal
space.
land.
Again,
federal government
not the
controls
idea.
too much
We
land
are not a packed-in country. We're not Hong Kong.
So, do you at all blame our housing crisis and the cost of housing and the low inventory at all on the 22 million illegal immigrants we have here?
They have an influence, but not overwhelmingly. You know why? Because they're not buying $1 million homes. They're at the lower end of the economic rung, and would
that open up opportunities for lower end Americans?
Well, here's the thing: is why aren't those lower end homes, if those are the ones being consumed, aren't they being built? That's a supply and demand issue. The illegals are not sitting here sucking up all the low building homes. We're not building them. And that's a problem at this point right now. And we have a problem with where the housing market is going. And the other part is, remember, the things that people complain about with the illegals is that they don't come in and have just one family in a home. It's 4 or 5 families. That's part of the problem. I got 17 cars. That's not taking up the inventory. If you're putting 3 families into one home, they're not sucking up the homes. They're not, because they're actually more efficient because they're putting one. When you get 3 families into one, when you get 3 families into one home, though, that means you're putting 3 into one. That's not one family into each home.
Right. But if you're a poor Coloradan, born here, lives here, and you can't find any apartments because Mike Johnston has given those all out to people, you can't find any starter homes because illegal immigrants are living in those smaller tiny homes. Even if there's 3 families in them, that home's still not available to a poor Denverite.
Still, but what's the percentage? And that's the issue, is it's only a small percentage out of the total. And even then, that's the issue. So you're looking at, does the Denverite need more money? Do we need to raise the minimum wage? No, we don't want to do that, do we? No, we shouldn't do that.
But the illegal immigrants taking their home.
Not necessarily.
I don't know.
No, I disagree on that.
Give us a call.
That would be like saying we can't have any Californians move here because Californians are taking the homes. The same thing.
Brilliant.
The same thing.
Build a wall.
Work that way.
Keep the Californians in there.
Doesn't really work that way.
Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line, 720-819-5115. Man, the text messages and phone lines are hot. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS. Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Hey, little M&M there behind us. That's nice. All righty. You know, you've heard me talking about Balance Well Space for some time. They're a brand new medical office. It's integrative medicine. Basically, you've got a whole bunch of doctors doing all sorts of different treatments on you. You can get a bunch of different treatments all under one roof. You've got things like chiropractic care, neuropathic care, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, regenerative care, trigger point injections, and so much more. They've got a bunch of cutting edge therapies that really have to be believed and experienced to see the difference they can make in your life. But the most important thing is they are taking away that daily pain. You get up out of the bed this morning, you feel that stuff you did over Saturday and Sunday, don't you? You feel it in your back, your shoulders, your knees, your ankles, your hips. Yeah, but there is a solution. My friends at Balance Well Space. Right now, your current medical team isn't talking together about you. You go to different doctors' offices. I'm sure they're doing a fine job, but they're never connecting with each other to discuss what's going on with you and how to get you to the place you want to be in your life. That's the difference with Dr. Julie, Dr. Jess, and the team at Balance Well Space. The team at Balance Well Space takes a personal pain evaluation. You go in there, you see them, they talk to you, they do the moving, the taking the pictures, the poking, the prodding. Then they talk to you about your goals, what you are doing and what you aren't doing. What is your daily pain preventing you from doing? What are those things you've given up over the last couple of years? Those are the things they're going to set as goals, and those are the things that they are going to focus on. Then every couple of weeks, they come back and they check to see how you're doing. It's another evaluation to make sure they fine-tune all of the things they're doing to make sure that the boat is rowing in the same direction. You know how that goes. Right now, your doctors are rowing in totally different directions. Talk to my team. They can make a huge difference in your life, just like it made an enormous difference in my life. I was out doing some yard work this weekend, washed the car. Back wasn't hurting. Back would have been sore afterwards. It's amazing. And again, as we're talking, I'm regenerating the meniscus in my left knee. And to see where I was a couple of months ago to where that knee is now, it's absolutely remarkable. And I want you to have the same experience in your life. But you got to take the first step for me. And that's contacting the team at Balance Well Space. Visit them at balancewellspace.com, balancewellspace.com. And then when you talk to them, tell them you heard about them here on the Jeff and Bill Show, because boy, does it help us out. And we'll be back right after this. This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill. It's important for you to believe that this term of his, this 4 years, was successful. Let's go to Jacqueline, Nebraska. Good morning, Jacqueline. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hey, morning.
Well, morning, fellas. Yeah, let me ask you something, Jeff. If, say, law enforcement shows up and say they want your help, they want you to go with them out to the apartment complex there in Aurora. Since you already talked to some of those women that have children there, some of the people, you know, they're there illegally. Yep. Will you help them get them on a bus? Yeah. They're going to need help. You'll help them put them on the bus?
Oh, sure.
Okay, because, you know, it's going to take a lot of tough love. There's a lot of people here, including those women and those people that have been victimized that couldn't come legally if they wanted to. There's a reason for it. No, and they know that when they leave their home or wherever they come from, they know what it's going to entail and what it's going to be like. But it's going to take a lot of tough love. There's a lot of bleeding hearts that will say, well, you know, look at all the children in school. That means rounding them up, taking all the benefits, putting them on a bus. And what about all the people that came in on planes and boats and other means too, not just the southern border, but there are people all over this country. We've got them in Nebraska now, Haitians that have come in here that came in on a plane.
Yeah, look, Jacqueline, I think it's got to be a balance first of tough love and direct operations that get illegal immigrants out. But I think that it'll also send a very strong message to folks out there that you got to leave and you'll see people get out of here. And you've got to cut off the services The one caveat that I have is I think the Democrats intend to make some of these states and cities sanctuary states and cities. And so rather than flying home, I think they're just going to run out to California or the city of Denver, and Mike Johnson will be there to provide all the care they need.
Well, I know just from what I've talked to with different people around the country, family members, there's probably more like 16 to 18 million.
Yeah.
So if you figure, if you get 4 million, I think we'd be doing damn good. Anything, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't consider anything a loss with Donald Trump or anybody else, because it's not going to be as easy. It can be done, but it ain't going to be nice for a lot of them.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anything that's getting done is going to make an impact, but I want to hold them to that 4 million. I think 4 million would be a big win, but it does bother me when I see Tom Homan go, well, we don't know what the numbers are, and it depends on the resources we get. I think that I want to see a stronger line, stronger vision. I think Stephen Miller provides that. So I'm putting my faith in Stephen in this Trump administration to get it done. Jacqueline, great call. Sure appreciate it. When we come back, is Colorado Parks and Wildlife deleting and hiding emails regarding wolves? We're going to talk with the founder of the Wolf Tracker. You're listening to Jeff and Bill Show.
KNUS.
It is 9 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You're off and running, working in the greatest country in history, and we got a whole hour planned for you of engaging discussions, critical analysis, but most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. Let's grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after News and Comment with Blake Olson, we're going to talk with Dr. John Williams, Sr. He's the founder of the Colorado Wolf Tracker. This is a group on Facebook, about 8,000 Coloradans that track wolves, talk about wolves, all that stuff. They noticed, and 9 News reported on this, that maybe Colorado Parks and Wildlife not being honest about their feelings around wolves, deleting emails so that there couldn't be Cora requests. Look, I know we give Channel 9 a hard time for lots of good reasons, but when they get it right, we give them kudos. And in this, they got it right. We, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and the Wolves have been dealt an impossible card. The CPW director wrote an email that he then deleted, but they have the receipts. So what's really going on there? We're going to talk with John Williams in just a second. But first, News and Comment with Blake Olson. Good morning, Blake.
Good morning, Jeff and Billy. 28 and sunny in Denver, expecting a high of 47 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, the CEO of SoftBank is set to announce a $100 billion investment in the U.S. during a visit to DJT's Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach today. According to CNBC, the billionaire founder of the Japanese tech investing firm will also pledge to create 100,000 jobs in AI and infrastructure. QR code scams are being found on Denver parking meters. Denver authorities say scammers are placing QR code stickers over the parking meters, which link users to a fake site.
Selling your information, using it to steal identities, scamming the people you love and you know.
That's local IT expert Brian Cather with CP Cyber explaining the QR code could actually install malware that steals your personal information before you realize it. Scammers also steal any information people put into these fake parking websites. Anyone using Denver parking meters should only use the authorized pay by phone QR code on the meter. The most secure way is to download the app. New Jersey will receive help to address recent drone sightings once again. Homeland's No Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said that more personnel and technology will be used to assist New Jersey State Police and help the residents there.
Oh my God, it's so close! That ain't no plane. I watch planes fly, bro, over here all the time. That is not a plane.
First drone of the night, just getting home from work.
Drones and mysterious lights have been reported in several states, including New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, California, and Oregon. The bluest states in the country. They'd be shot down in red states, more than likely. DJT's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services is looking for support on Capitol Hill today. NBC's Aaron Gilchrist reports that RFK Jr. will be meeting with senators whose support he'll need to win confirmation.
Kennedy expected to face questions about his views on vaccines now after the New York Times reported that a lawyer who's helping RFK Jr. build his team petitioned the FDA to revoke approval of a polio vaccine 2 years ago.
Several online fundraisers are growing the defense fund for the suspect in the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson murder. One of them on the crowdfunding website Give Send Go has raised over $100,000 as of Sunday morning. That is just sick.
I mean, it's like bailing out the BLM guys.
Absolutely.
Right. This guy intended to commit murder. This is not Daniel Penny trying to stop somebody from harming other people, and then been brought up on charges by an activist, Democrat DA. This is a guy in cold blood, shot a guy in the back, and then finished him, and then left. I don't care what your reasons are, even if you're angry at them. That's not what you do. And then the fact that this is progressives that are the ones putting.
There's no question. A statement on the website read that we are not here to celebrate violence. Yeah, right. But we do believe in the constitutional right to fair and legal representation. Well, so do
let me ask
most
you this.
people.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to get a public defender, and his family's very wealthy, so they're going to put the money up. And anyways, to defend this guy's going to end up with like the top defense. He's going to end up with OJ's defense.
Right.
So you don't need to give money to him. But then, okay, are these same people going to put money into a Second Amendment defense fund?
Yeah. Hey, there's an idea. Yeah. Don't hold your breath. Gosh. Oh man. It's just a sad state where we are right now in the value system of people. That is sickening. President Biden and Kamala Khan speaking to their wealthy donors over the weekend. Steak, chicken, asparagus, potatoes, and word salad on the menu.
Our spirit is not defeated. We are not defeated. Let's be clear about that. We are strong. We are clear about why we are in this. And because you're here right now, I say, again, thank you, because not only are you clear about all of that, you're willing to put in the hard work. And that work must continue. We cannot let any circumstance or situation or individual ever take away our power to know why we do what we do and our ability to then get that work done.
Yeah. The Broncos led the Colts 17-13 early in the fourth quarter, I should say, late in the game on Sunday. It was early in the fourth quarter.
Or use the run game or quarterback run game. They set up Mitchell. It's going to be a double pass. And that one is intercepted. It's Bonito. Unbelievable.
Wow, another big play by him on defense. Nick Bonito, 31-13 victory over the Colts and closing in on a playoff berth. The defense forced 5 turnovers against Indianapolis, 4 of which came in the second half alone, even though Bo Nix had 3 interceptions. 25 in Parker, 27 in Lakewood, 28 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue Monday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It'll be a mixture of high clouds, sun, and fairly uneventful weather here along the Front Range and eastern Colorado Plains for a bit, while there will be some snow action at times this week in the Colorado High Country. Not much going on down low. Highs will be upper 40s to near 50 today, near 30 tonight, low to mid-50s Tuesday. Turning a bit colder tomorrow afternoon and a little windy. 20s tomorrow night. Highs will be 50s, lows will be 20s and 30s Wednesday through Friday. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. As we all know, the Wolf introduction. Colorado's been at the ballot box battle in Denver, Boulder, and Highlands Ranch going, it's a good idea. Wolves, I don't want to have to deal with them. Somebody else can, but I like the idea of it. So we did that, and now the state's mandated to try to introduce wolves, and it hasn't been going very well. In fact, we've covered a lot of this. The cost is nearly doubled what they intended it to be. Even the director vented in an email about wolf introduction. Said, we've been dealt an impossible card here. Now, Channel 9 got a hold of that email and went and asked for all the emails related to this specific kind of animal rights organization, animal welfare promotion organization that the CPW folks have been emailing back and forth. It's a Google group. So you send one email to this Google email address, and then it emails lots of people. And Channel 9, to their credit, was interested in getting all emails related to this particular email group and found that none existed. None, which is interesting because they have an email of the CPW director actually emailing that group. And what they've been told by CPW and core officials and all that is, oh yeah, these guys can just delete their emails.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why does that make sense?
According to Colorado law, you have the ability, if you like, to just delete an email.
Does everyone know this? I just am like, wow. Okay, then. And I have some questions about who set that up. Who decided that? Well, obviously it's the lawmakers. They wanted to delete their own emails. But wow, okay, that's a new one. I had no idea. That's just. And
spooky. I think it has to do with time policy. Like within a week or something, you can delete it. So you can send it and delete it almost right away, and then it's not able to be discovered anymore.
That sounds even worse.
I know, doesn't that?
That sounds like you're giving me the ability to cover up after the crime. Saying, but if you would have said that like 4 years later, we can go back and delete the stuff. Okay, now we've held on to it for a reasonable amount of time. Not right after. I just. Who were the children involved in making that rule? I just, oh my God. Okay, I continue. This is ridiculous.
So the other thing that was noticed was that other people that have to work with CPW are like, it seems like he's really friendly with the animal rights organizations, very honest with them, sharing his perspective. And then when we talk with him, he's very guarded. He's not nearly as friendly. 9 News picking up on that as well. And those people are the Cattlemen's Association going, well, hold on. Isn't this a government official? Isn't he supposed to be kind of neutral and just enforcing whatever rules and laws are passed? But it seems like he wants to be really friendly with the animal rights people and more guarded and not so friendly with the Cattlemen's Association. So all this picked up on Channel 9, and to their credit, well done. Thank you for holding the people accountable. But to provide some comment and analysis for us is Dr. John Williams Sr. He's the creator of the Colorado Wolf Tracker. This is a great Facebook group, all news. And it's not really partisan news by any means. It's just news about Colorado wolves, where people are seeing them, that type of thing, kind of aggregating all of that on Facebook. I strongly recommend you join in. And John, thanks so much for joining the Jeff and Bill show this morning.
Good morning.
Well, thanks for having me on again.
So interesting piece from Channel 9. I appreciate them doing the Quora request.
Do we have to delete this after the show after we talk? Is this what happens? That's what I have to do. I want to know what the rules are.
Yeah, as somebody who's managing all this, what do you think of it?
Well, when I read that story, and kudos to Aaron Adelson, he's done a great job at Channel 9 to get these stories out. But when I read it, I thought I had flashed back in time to 2014 with the Hillary Clinton email deletion scandal. A lot of similarities, the emails just disappeared. I didn't know I had to keep them. But seriously, to not retain emails regarding this WOOF program where there have been active lawsuits filed, just floors. I can't believe that they don't have an email retention policy like corporate America does when there are lawsuits pending or there's a chance of a lawsuit being filed. You keep those emails. You don't delete them. Yeah. So it was embarrassing for them.
I mean, one can easily make the leap that they don't want these emails to be found, right? Like you don't go through your inbox every day and just delete emails on a systematic basis. You want to hide the ones you don't want to see, which brings to your point, Dr. Williams, founder of Colorado Wolf Tracker. This is the most discussed lawsuited issue that CPW, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, has to deal with. I can't think of a single other issue that they're dealing with that is as controversial, as in the media spotlight, as discussed, as sued over than the wolves. And these are the ones that we're deleting the emails about.
Absolutely. And what would be interesting, Jeff, is to find the email that tells people to delete their emails. Get a hold of that, and that'll break things wide open.
I'm also curious about if it's a Google group that they're sending it to, if there's any way to discover the emails that were sent to the particular group. The idea being you don't have to go to the sent email, but in that group, people are going to probably have held on to a large string of those communications. You could probably search by keyword, and anyone that has gone through Google understands there's a two-step deletion process. Just deleting it the first time, Google still hangs on to it. You have to go in a second time from a cache system they have and delete it a second time in order to remove it from the Google system. So they'd have to do that twice if they had received it. So there should be a mechanism there to try to recover those, but I don't know if they're going to push hard enough.
Well, Billy, you make a good point, but when you look at the organizations that are in the Wildlife and Habitat Roundtable, they march in lockstep with the CPW's pro-wolf agenda. So I doubt that any of them are going to come forward, but you never know. That's a good point you make.
Here's some of the comments made in that likely deleted email, because we can't prove that it was an actual email. It exists in one capacity because someone from those organizations shared it, but we don't have it official. But here's what the director of Colorado Parks and Wildlife has said. Despite all the experts and massive headwinds from the extreme end of the ranching community. Extreme end of the ranching community? CPW and our partners will be successful in restoring wolves to Colorado while avoiding and minimizing impacts to livestock and the ranching industry, just as the law requires of us. This would be a whole lot easier if people would provide some grace and patience and perhaps more support even when they think something different should be done. What's the extreme end of the ranching community, Dr. John Williams, founder of Colorado Wolf Tracker?
Jeff, Director Davis is living in an alternate reality. He has no concept of what these ranchers are going through, with wolves killing over 24 animals, sheep, cattle, wolves coming within 300 yards of people's property and stalking their kids and their 4-H animals, people living in fear. And to trivialize it the way he did and make them out to be extremists is, in my opinion, extreme transference. He's basically taking what the pro-wolf people are doing and trying to transfer that same thing to ranchers that are making an honest living.
Right. I mean, it's interesting to me that the head of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, this is not an animal activist, this is a government employee, believes that the ranching community is extreme.
Yeah. In fact, Jeff, can you read that portion just again for a second? I want to point something out. Can you read that
sure.
portion about it, please? Thank you.
This is from Jeff, the director of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife, as reported by Channel 9. Despite all of the experts and massive headwinds from the extreme end of the ranching community, CPW and our partners will be successful in restoring wolves to Colorado while avoiding and minimizing impacts to livestock and the ranching industry, just as the law requires of us. This would be a whole lot easier if people would provide some grace and patience and perhaps more support even when they think something different should be done.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me in his communication there is he only identifies one group as being extreme. He's taking a position inside of his email that I don't think he should. He is picking a side. And that's not really in this realm where Colorado Parks and Wildlife needs to be. According to his guidance based on the law, at least my base understanding of it, he's supposed to be more of a neutral arbiter, balancing the needs of the ranching community with the needs of the guidance of how to introduce the wolves. Yet, right there in his communication, he takes one side of the people in which he's supposed to be balancing and tags them as being extremists and creating headwinds and creating problems, even though he cites them, the experts they have. But I feel in his communication, he's doing that tongue in cheek. He's doing it like the air quotes, the experts know about this. And for me,
yes, he actually does that.
Yeah, so it is. It is. Highlights. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought based on how he had written that, that's what he's trying to imply.
Bill.
That's
well
what he's saying. That's where I have a problem. Is he's picking sides in this one. It's not his role in this.
He's not just picking sides, but think about who he labels the extremists and has to tell the other side to settle down.
Yeah.
Right. Like the last part of that email is, please provide some grace and patience and perhaps more support, even when they think something different should be done.
Yeah. And we can all go back a couple of 10 years or so. And this isn't necessarily for the animal rights activists, but we can go into things along. There have been some ridiculous things there, but go into some of the environmental activists, chaining themselves to trees and throwing paint on.
Burning down veil.
Yeah, exactly. And throwing paint on paintings and things like that, where that's the more extreme behavior. The behavior of the ranchers and how they've gone about it. They have concerns, legitimate concerns,
and
but you can't.
Angry, which is fine.
But I haven't seen anything covering any extreme behavior. Yet he hands them the jacket and tells them to wear it. He's taking sides. This is crap.
Dr. Williams?
Yeah, I think another thing we have to look at is the fact that they have just completely deviated from the Colorado Wolf Restoration and Management Plan. The original plan called for lethal control in the setting of repeated depredations, killings of livestock. They didn't do that. The plan specifically said, we're not going to capture wolves and put them in captivity because it doesn't work. The plan said that. The plan also said we would never capture wolves and re-release them because they will go back to their original bad habits. Yet that's what the CPW is going to do. They've already told us that. So what was the purpose of having a wolf restoration and management plan where a consensus group of experts came up with some pretty good opinions, and to totally ignore it? And you ask Davis and he goes, well, we have flexibility. Well, flexibility means let's throw it out the window and I will do what the governor tells me. And we've alleged that on many occasions on the Wolf Tracker page, and here's the proof. So, it's kind of like we told you so.
Yeah, and Billy and I were talking, and where does Marlin fall into all of this? It's not just CPW or the governor's office, but the first gentleman, highly interested and probably likely guiding the policy on this. Do you think, Dr. John Williams, founder of Colorado Wolf Tracker?
Well, maybe that's why they didn't want to release the emails. Maybe some of them had his fingerprints on them. I can only speculate.
Well, and we put that call out. So, and I want to reiterate this. Okay. We respect anonymity here. If you email us or message us or send, we will protect our sources. Absolutely protect our sources.
Yeah.
So if you work for CPW or another, the governor's office or anybody else in government, and you are watching what you believe to be undue influence from the first gentleman of Colorado, Marlin, on this issue of wolf reintroduction, we would like to see that information. We will protect our sources entirely.
Yes, we will entirely. In fact, I can vouch for something in my personal life where a couple of years ago, my wife and I got into a little bit of an argument because I knew something that one of our kids shouldn't have done 3.5 months before she knew. And she's like, what? I'm like, but I told them that that was an interesting fight. But again, I'm not saying it was undeserved. I'm just saying that we'll protect the sources.
But I do want to ask you this, Dr. John Williams, founder of Colorado Wolf Tracker, are you getting messages from government officials, and maybe you can or cannot talk about it, to the Facebook group, giving you some insight into how the government's struggling to implement wolf reintroduction?
That's a good question. And like what you said, I would protect the anonymity of anyone who wants to share information and not disclose their identity. But yes, we have had people reach out and say, hey, here's some information. I don't want my name attributed to it, but you may want to look into this story in a little more depth. And I think what's interesting behind the whole issue where, that generated that email where Davis said, hey, we had to release the fact that we're out there trying to trap the Copper Creek pack, is because a leak did occur. And it's my understanding that leak occurred from someone who was involved in the capture process, who was essentially disgusted with what was going on. and was very unhappy with the fact that the male wolf was injured and hurt and ended up dying. And that information got out. So I think if people want to get that information out, reach out to you, reach out to me, because it's a story that needs to be told. And, it's your integrity on the line.
And as you've outlined, Dr. John Williams, with the Wolf Project, that basically we have CPW not sharing the information. So
Right.
it is almost more dependent upon individuals that have that information in order to share it, just so that we have a good understanding of what is going on. We would not know without people, speaking up. We would not know that CPW has already deviated from the plan without people internally saying they are making different choices. They're part of the people that help us put the dots together to tell us exactly what's happening, because as we outlined at the beginning of this, CPW doesn't have to keep any of their information.
No, and I want to read this. So this is the actual statement, okay?
Yeah.
From CPW's Public Information Supervisor, Travis Duncan. Okay. Director Jeff Davis is in full compliance with DNR's email retention policy. CPW's Cora manager maintains copies of records that are responsive to Cora requests, including the emails located in response to your prior request, for at least 2 years, which is consistent with the records management manual published by the state archives. Listen to this. All staff, including Director Davis, are encouraged to delete routine emails per the DNR email retention policy, which states that staff, quote, should not retain, unquote, emails that are, quote, transitory or routine in nature. Because the Cora manager maintains copies of all records that have been collected for Cora requests, there's no reason for staff to duplicate these efforts by maintaining them in their work email accounts as well. Additionally, Director Davis's assistant searches his emails in order to fulfill Cora requests, so he is often unaware of which of his emails have been produced in connection with the numerous Cora requests the agency receives. Did you hear? So did you get what they said in that? That until it's been Cora requested, you can delete it and should not retain it, as it may be transitory or routine in nature.
Well, I can tell you what I'm hearing from journalists all across the Front Range, all across through Colorado that are covering this story. They're telling me it's incredibly difficult to get any information.
Yep.
To get a public information officer from the CPW to pick up the phone, to answer a simple request for information. They're having to go through these Cora requests, which are difficult, they're time consuming, and they're meant to put an obstacle in the way of getting public information out to the public. And it's wrong.
It doesn't have to be saved until there is a Cora request. So once the Cora request is in, okay, now we got to save it. But you can just sit there, email, delete, email, delete, email, delete. Oh, because no one's actually asked. And when you do a Cora request, you have to ask for incredibly specific terms, like email sent to this particular email address.
The other part is the Cora request comes after the email has been sent and the information comes out, so they can delete everything prior. So when they come in and you say, I need a Cora request discussing these 3 specific terms, there may not be anything in there because they've already deleted it. And they're like, nope, don't have anything for you. So sorry. They are fulfilling their responsibility based on how the outline is set up, but the outline is set up so that they can avoid responsibility. That's the problem with this. They can delete it beforehand and you can't go back and get it because they've determined that it is whatever the classifications are.
Routine and
you know,
unnecessary.
and I could be wrong. I could be sitting there in the CPW office and I could think this memo and this in communication I've been having for 3 months with some sort of activist group, it's just routine. It's just normal. So of course I can delete it because I have been allowed to determine what is routine and what should be given the ability to delete. There's no guidelines inside of that. So every individual gets to make that determination, and it's completely easy and logical to realize that when you don't want something to be found, you can take advantage of that.
So Dr. John Williams, founder, Colorado Wolf Tracker, continue to press CPW. What are your plans? What's next to continue to track these wolves here in Colorado?
Well, you know what, Jeff and Billy, they make my job pretty easy. I don't have to go out and stir up stuff to come up with stories that make them look bad. They do that themselves. And so I'm kind of a bystander, and our website or Facebook page is a clearinghouse for this information. And I just wait for the next crazy story. And every morning when I get up and I look in my inbox, my email inbox, it's like, what am I gonna be amazed about today? You know, what's going to top the previous story? And I guarantee you there will be something. So stay tuned.
As Bill Armstrong used to say, I don't know what's going on, but I smell sulfur. And in this case, something stinks. It seems like there's information that CPW is hiding. It seems likely that the first gentleman's office may be providing some undue influence here. We don't know, but there's stuff there that needs to be further tracked. And the best place to do this by far is Colorado Wolf Tracker. It's on Facebook. It's a private group there. You got to join it. But I strongly recommend you do. It's where news is sourced so we can understand it. I do want to give kudos to Channel 9 for digging out this information. I hope they continue to follow that. And again, that's Aaron Adelson over at Channel 9 who's digging into it and providing some good accountability to our elected officials. Dr. John Williams, founder, Colorado Wolf Tracker, thank you so much for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks again.
Well, we'll continue to follow that here as well, and I appreciate John Williams being a good friend of the program. Another great friend of the program that you need to hire if you're ever hurt in an injury case is Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-America. He's the son of a police officer, a former seminary, and look, that matters because you're going to go to war against these insurance companies or maybe possibly you got to sue somebody else. When you show up in court, you're going to send a message to everybody involved in the case, the types of values you stand for. And if you just hired an ambulance chaser off of a bus billboard, well, that communicates that you're maybe not that serious. Dan Kaplis is not only a guy with great values, he's a real winner in the courtroom. Listen to this. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. But it even gets bigger. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. So why wouldn't you hire Dan? He's with you on the values, and he is the winner when it comes to battling these out in the courts. Dan Kaplis Law is so trusted that they're the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. You might be worried saying, I can't afford him. Don't worry. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So chances are you're not on the side of the road in a car accident going, gee golly, I need to call Dan Kaplis. But when that happens, do you want to be searching for Dan Kaplis' phone number? No, just put it in your phone right now so that if that happens, God forbid, and you're having to deal with the police, first responders, paramedics, maybe even the other person involved in an injury case, you can quickly get a hold of Dan. So here's his phone number, 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551 or hit dankaplis.law.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S law.com. All right. So, Bill, here's the question I got for you and our listeners. Obviously, progressives, Jared Polis, all of them, Marlon, the first gentleman, are animal welfare people. They care a lot about it. And in fact, January 1st, no more eggs from caged chickens. They've all got to be cage-free chickens.
Saw those already in the store.
What's that?
Saw them already in the store.
Yeah, right.
And they're expensive.
They are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Now at the Hunt Family Ranch, we have free-range chickens, which is another level. They don't. There's no cages. They're little lawn birds. They wander around. They go into their hutch at night, and we have this remote control night organized thing that opens up, and then they come out and walk around our property and eat all the bugs. And we have water for them, and we've got lots of eggs, plenty of great eggs. So no government mandates upon the Hunt Family Ranch, but. Is all this animal welfare stuff with cage-free eggs and wolves making our state better?
The thing for me is I do think that there is a biological role for the wolves. as far as controlling populations, and they're beneficial for the ecosystem. Where I disagree is exactly what Dr. Williams outlined, the departure from the plan, because I'm okay with killing the wolves that get into livestock. I'm okay with killing the wolves that you have to remove from the wild, because you're not going to hold on to them unless you're going to put them into a zoo. There's no reason there. I'm okay with having to kill them because you can't put them back into a different hunting territory that's going to be reasonably close, because they'll go to another hunting territory. You probably have to go hundreds and hundreds of miles away. That seems onerous. I'm okay with that. That was part of the deal to sign up to bring the wolves into the state. Yep. And I disagree with anyone that thinks that this priority is about the life of the wolf. The idea being that if the wolves can survive in the ecosystem here, they will survive, and they will learn to stay away from the hunters and ranchers.
Just
they'll
naturally.
learn. They're
will
coming
learn down from Wyoming already.
Yeah. And it may take, and we had someone on the text messages that talk about how it's legal to hunt them in Wyoming, and then go back and forth all the time. The wolves can go from Colorado.
Do you remember
to
that guy who brought the one to the bar?
Yep, exactly. So that can happen all the time. And the wolves don't care about what state they're in, what county they're in, or anything else. They're just going to be wolfing. Yep. And that's what we have to understand. And some of our wolves that go into Wyoming are going to be killed. Yes, that's okay. But that's also how the natural cycle will work, because the predators over generations will learn. You don't go hunt those goats and those sheep over there because, Grandpa Joe didn't come back. They'll know that kind of a thing, because there's going to be things that'll be worked into the pack. They'll understand where the feed is. But I do think there's an environmental role for them. The cage-free chicken things, I wish you'd give it to me as an option. I hate the fact that it is mandatory.
Yeah, right.
That's where I really dislike it. I would love to. We got organic options in the grocery store right now.
Right.
I have meatless options. I don't understand why we can't do the same thing with eggs, because
it's not the rich people that are going to suffer in this one.
No, it's not the rich people. And the problem is, it's going to be people that are on the lower economic spectrum that aren't going to be able to afford to put eggs on the table, and are going to have to make a different choice. And probably that's going to be a highly processed food choice. It's going to be a Pop-Tart. It's going to be something like that you're going to have to make the choice, because they're going to be exactly at the same time.
So my question is, all of this animal welfare compassion that's being pushed by the Democrats in Colorado helping our state or creating more problems? Give us a call. Join the conversation. Phone line 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplos Law Text line 720-819-5115. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
gotta go get paid to take them all down. Charged by the hour. Thanks. How many illegal immigrants does Donald Trump have to deport? Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Lots of text messages coming in here. Jay from Louisville. The Colorado Freedom of Information Coalition does great work on this front. We're talking about the fact that Colorado Parks and Wildlife deleting emails. Supposedly.
Yeah, they're allowed to. and the loophole is they get to delete them until you make a core request.
Yes.
Which comes after the email is sent and been found out about. So there's a window of opportunity to hide whatever you want to. Yeah. This seems like a flaw in the system.
Claim it as routine and transitory. Routine in nature.
Yes. Routine in nature. And if you're communicating with groups routinely, they would obviously be routine in nature if I'm talking to all the time.
Do you remember there was a great Office episode where Michael has to deal with bankruptcy. And and Oscar is like, well, you're just going to have to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And he struggles and he walks around the office. And then at one point he goes, I declare bankruptcy.
Yes, exactly.
And they're like, no, that's not what
That's
it
not
is.
what you're
But I
doing.
can see people within CPW, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, going,
oh, yeah.
I declare
Yes.
routine in nature.
Yes, I declare this
delete,
routine.
delete.
Yes. We're doing this every day and telling them about this. It's routine.
Isn't every
Yes.
email routine in nature?
Yes, it
'Cause
is.
we all email on a
I
daily
know.
basis.
Oh.
So
And the fact they're allowed to do it is just crazy.
I mean, it seems like this is a common problem. There was this issue, and this was before I took over as a radio host, so I wasn't following the news as closely, but there were concerns last year or 2 years ago about the Colorado legislature passing laws that further hid their communications from the press.
And we'll have to go see if we can reach out to Sherry Pike. She was a friend of the show.
Yes,
she was
good about
like
that.
neck deep in that. And she was
Yeah.
fighting for years as far as to get that. And they kept changing the rules on her about what she's allowed to access. And she said it was just ridiculous. And she's one of the ones that eventually found out based on, the rules they were changing. But she's one of the ones that found out that Douglas County was hiring Brittany Pedersen's husband.
Jefferson County.
Jefferson County, yeah. Whatever county it was. Yeah, the county
I
was
know.
hiring, Pedersen's husband to do this work. And it's like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, she's one of the ones that ran across that and some of the stuff that she was doing. Yeah.
So Polis administration. Is the
Yes.
Polis administration here in Colorado being as, trans, was
The
word
answer is
I'm
no,
looking for.
but it doesn't matter. The answer is no. Transparent.
Transparent. Thank
but
you.
again,
There's so many trans these days.
There's so many.
Especially with the Polis administration. Can't say that. Sorry.
And our listeners, you can make your own joke at home. Try that one.
Is Polis being transparent? Is his administration, the Democrats down at the state capitol, all these little bureaucratic organizations, are they being transparent? Or look, single party rule, you plebes.
Yeah.
We get to do whatever we want.
Yeah. And he took all that credit for cutting those regulations. The
table saw?
Yeah, that was dumb.
The 1%.
Yeah.
That was the actual math.
Yeah.
Because the day before, the Colorado business community came out and showcased that there are over 280,000 duplicative laws out there, and he cut 200 of them.
Yeah, 200. And then
so 1%.
Table saw. Again, whoever's doing his
Remember
little
when
stunts.
he broke the glass?
Yes.
Put on the guy.
Whoever's setting up his stunts, you need to do a better job. The table saw's a dumb
his
idea.
career's done until he wants to become a
That's
senator
true.
because he can't become president.
That's true.
All right, we'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's go to the phone lines. Vic Denver, good morning.
Good morning. What's your experiences with trying to get some information from the government concerning the wolves? It's just a reminder that most government officials do not consider you a citizen, a co-equal with them.
Yes.
You are considered a servant.
That is exactly right. I appreciate it. I'm just out of time.
Thanks. I wish
Vic,
we had
call
more
back
time.
tomorrow,
Give us a call.
please. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.